And we are live. How's it going, everybody? Welcome once again to another edition of our weekly NASCAR live stream. If you've been paying any attention to NASCAR news, there's been a lot of crazy stuff going on this week, a lot of interesting news that we're definitely going to be getting into a little bit later. But we have a guest here to start, which we will introduce in a moment. So I'm Eric. Happy to have you here, and I'll toss it over to Jarrett, the Iceberg.
Yep, I'm the Iceberg. I'm happy to be here. It's been, I don't know what you're talking about. It hasn't really been that wild of a week.
Pretty low-key, I guess.
But I guess we do have enough to talk about for a while once we get to it. But I'll hand it over to Darian for now.
Yeah, what's up, guys? It's your boy Darian Gilliam, aka Black Flags Matter. Expect a new upload this Saturday. Maybe a good seasons or a bad seasons video. I'm still deciding on that. And yeah, that's really all I got to say for now. Let's hand it over to Danny B.
Hey guys, Danny B from Danny B Talks here, and as far as an upload for me that goes, I'm a little bit slow this week. I've had a lot going on this week with some other private business and other stuff like that. So maybe I'm shooting for maybe more next week. I'll be out of town this weekend. Other than that, though, we do have a very special guest here. We have Mr. Chris Perrin. He is from the Bristol Motor Speedway. He is the Director of Brand Consumer Marketing there. And he's here with us today to kind of talk about the upcoming night race at Bristol Motor Speedway. So, Chris, welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys. Hello, everybody.
So, Chris, we're getting ready. It's hard to believe it's coming up this quick. It's like what, next week? Next week we start off with the Truck Series on Thursday this time.
Truck and modified doubleheader, the UNOH 200 NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race and the Busch's Beans 150 NASCAR Wheeling Modified Series race is both taking place on Thursday, which typically is a Wednesday doubleheader. But this is the first year that we've moved it to Thursday. We had a lot of fan feedback talking about that. So our racing is actually going to get started on Thursday of August race week.
And I thought that was a really good decision there because it was kind of weird how it would be like, you know, hey, we race on Wednesday, then it just nothing on Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday. So I think it kind of makes more sense to do it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives the fans an opportunity because we have fans from all 50 states and 24 countries that come to the night race. It really kind of is a mecca that fans want to come and enjoy themselves. And some can't come from Wednesday all the way to Saturday or Sunday. So it's an opportunity to give them one additional day to come travel, whether they can take days off of work or it just doesn't work with their schedule. So we're trying to tighten up that schedule a little bit to give them action-packed racing from Thursday all the way through Saturday. I think it'll be a great addition, change to what we have going on, and hopefully the fans will enjoy it as well. I think they will.
Definitely sounds good. You know, Bristol is a very important track to me. It's my home track. It's 2 hours away from me. I got engaged on the track there at Bristol Motor Speedway a year ago.
Congratulations.
Race. And it's a very track means a lot to me, and definitely looking forward to more great memories, and who knows what we're going to see. Maybe we'll see another win for Kyle Busch there or something like that, you know. Well,
it's definitely possible, but you just never know what's going to happen at Bristol. I mean, it's one of those things, and I think so many fans of NASCAR or just stock car racing enjoy venues like Bristol because it's a short track. We're running it on a Saturday night here, which brings back so many memories, or what so many fans are used to across the country. You go to the local short track, you watch some great racing. You get to see the drivers show their personality, their emotion a little bit. There might be a few fenders involved. There might be a few conversations after the race, if you will. It's something that so many fans and the drivers can relate to because it's what they cut their teeth on or what you still go to every single week, watching that good old short track racing. And that's what I love about Bristol.
Right. That's definitely a good point there. And, you know, one thing that we really are hoping for is good weather. Weather has not been the biggest friend of Bristol in the past few weekends. You know, in the spring we had the situation where the Sunday Cup race was pushed to Monday to finish up, and it was awful cold that time. I unfortunately couldn't come back on the Monday. The spring before, same situation, pushed to Monday. The night race before that, it was started on Saturday, ended on Sunday. The night race last year, fortunately enough, didn't have an issue there. There was a little bit of rain in the Truck Series race, but that was about it. So hopefully we can have another good weather weekend. I definitely a lot of people ask me why did I think that it looked like the attendance was so low at Bristol in the spring. Honestly, I've always said the weather, I think, was the biggest factor. I talked to a lot of people who had tickets to go, and they told me the only reason that they didn't go is because they looked at the forecast and knew it was just going to be rainy the whole time.
I certainly think that the weather is going to be great. As you mentioned, last August we had good weather, and I think we're due for some additional pleasant forecast. And something just to keep in mind, tomorrow morning, we've actually have some news that's coming out for Speedway Motorsports, all the Speedway Motorsports tracks. Marcus Smith, our president and CEO, is going to be making an announcement. I believe he's actually going to be on the Weather Channel tomorrow morning. It's going to be a weather-based announcement that I think the fans are really going to enjoy. It's something that's new that we're going to be offering here at Speedway Motorsports for all the other races moving forward, starting with the Bass Pro Shops NRA night race at Bristol Motor Speedway. So stay tuned for that tomorrow morning. That's a little bit of a sneak peek exclusive that I'm giving to all the fans that are tuning in today. They kind of make people feel better about whether or not the weather's going to have an impact on the race. But we're not going to even have to worry about any of that next Saturday.
Well, that's good to hear. Definitely be curious as to what you guys have planned over there at SMI. So I feel like I've talked a lot. Do you guys have anything you'd like to talk with Mr. Chris here about?
Yes, I do. I have a lot of questions. So I guess my first question is obviously you guys talked about the weather, and that's one complaint I have with or one of the complaints I have with the schedule. Basically because it seems like every spring Bristol race in the past decade has been rained out and stuff. And I guess my question is, with the schedule not having any changes until I believe it's 2021, will the people at Bristol be working with NASCAR to possibly have the possibility of having new dates for both your races, possibly, or maybe just at least the spring race because of all the weather problems you've had?
I think that that's certainly something that we're open to having discussions about. It's something that I think Marcus Smith, he's the one that kind of spearheads a lot of those conversations, along with Jerry Caldwell, our president and general manager here at the Speedway, that they have those discussions with NASCAR to figure out what's the best fit as far as the schedule. There are some moving parts, but there's also some staples that are in there that really won't change. So I think Bristol, we're going to look forward to having 2 solid race weeks whenever they happen on the schedule. Right now, we just moved to April a couple of years ago. We've kind of bounced around a little bit between March and April, depending on when that happened. But we've also had really good weather in April. Two years ago, we had perfect weather outside the last 2 spring races. So it's a little bit of a crapshoot here at Bristol, but for the most part, we've had good weather. It just the bad weather, inclement weather, kind of sticks with fans a little bit more. But I do think that tomorrow's announcement that we're going to have will help put to rest or let people buy tickets with confidence, knowing that regardless of what happens, they're going to have a good experience at Bristol or another SMI track.
I'm excited personally for whatever announcement this is, because I've never been to Bristol. Bristol's always been my biggest bucket list track I've always wanted to go to. I'm from Texas, but so Texas is a SMI track, so I go to that race, at least one of them every year. So I'm excited for that. I had a kind of a fun question just for both you, really for all of us, and even people in the chat. Like I know I've never been to Bristol, but Bristol obviously has had some of the biggest highlight moments in the last forever, really. Yeah. What is all of y'all's favorite Bristol moment? Because there's a lot to choose from. This could be a loaded question.
I think for me, if you want to talk about like all time, I think it's those moments where Dale Earnhardt spins out Taylor Labonte once he loses, once he wins. But if we're talking about things that I actually experienced in person, it's probably the Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth helmet throw, because I was actually there for that one. And the place just the roof blew off the place that day.
Yeah, I would guess my favorite Bristol moment was when Junior swept both weekends. I mean, both races in the same weekend. So I mean, I'm a little biased probably because I'm a huge I was a huge Junior fan. So yeah, that's just mine.
God, I'd say all time probably has to be the Earnhardt Labonte ones. If it's like stuff I've watched, again, being biased as a junior fan, I didn't get to watch him win it, but I'd definitely say when he like went from like 20th to second in like 40 laps, I was like, wow,
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
2016. I definitely would have been nice to see if he hadn't had those issues, if he could have maybe won that one.
I saw a lot of people, or a couple people in the chat, and I'm surprised y'all didn't mention it, it's simple, but just even Bubba Wallace last year, or earlier this year, I mean, driving up and taking the lead from people. I thought that was cool. What's yours, Chris?
Gosh, there's been like you said, so many Bristol moments. It's been a pleasure. I've been working here for 13 years now, so I've got to experience quite a few of them. The only Bristol race that I actually sat in attendance for before I started working here was the 99 night race with Earnhardt and Labonte. And it was the most surreal experience that I've ever gone through, because Earnhardt had so many fans just across the country, but especially at Bristol, because it was kind of known to be his racetrack. Dale Jr. even said earlier this year that Bristol is the Dale Earnhardt Sr. of racetracks. So he had so many fans there in attendance that night. And when that happened, it was like the life was sucked out, just complete eerie silence. And I remember when he went into victory lane, half the fans were cheering and half the fans were booing. And I never heard Earnhardt get booed like that before. It was something to be seen. But the Tony Stewart helmet throw incident that we had in 2012, I think that was just one of those moments that I never would have expected to see. I mean, you see a lot of these wrecks and incidents, roughing up drivers at short tracks, but to see Tony actually get out of his car and throw his helmet at Matt Kenseth's car, like I never would have expected to see anything like that at Bristol. So those are certainly two moments that stick out. And like y'all said, the 2004 Dale Earnhardt Jr. August sweep, and getting the phrase "It's Bristol, baby" from Dale Earnhardt Jr., which is, you see everywhere. It's almost like a rallying cry for so many of our Bristol fans. Those are some really cool moments. But gosh, I could sit here and talk to you for hours about all the great moments that we've had here at Bristol.
Yeah, it's like other tracks got to be jealous of you guys, because you sort of monopolized awesome moments in the sport when it comes to a track.
We've certainly been very lucky and fortunate with that. I think some of it is just the half mile aspect of racing. There's some other good short tracks that are on the NASCAR circuit, but I think Bristol, for what it is, and then the reputation that it has, I think people just kind of get amped up for that, and they want to win. Bristol is such a coveted win on the NASCAR circuit, especially the night race. And you see all the names that have been filled on the trophy as winners. You really don't luck into a Bristol win. You have to earn it. And I think so many drivers understand that, and they've grown up watching these races, whether they were on TV as a kid or actually in the stands. There's so many of these drivers that you sit there and you hear they've camped in the campgrounds. I mean, Justin Allgaier's one. He's camped in that campgrounds for years growing up, and sat in the stands and watched the race. And I just had a conversation recently with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. about the same thing, that so many of these drivers came to the race as fans, and they just loved it, and it means something to them. And I think that's the reason why they push the envelope a little bit more, because you have to be aggressive and get up on the wheel to win a race at Bristol, because it really puts your name in history to have one of those Bristol trophies with your name on it.
Certainly, and you brought up Justin Allgaier. That was my second race at Bristol I got to go to, was when Justin Allgaier won his first race in the Nationwide Series, driving for the number 12 Verizon Dodge back then.
Yeah, man, he's a really cool guy. But so many of these drivers, I mean, even we've been talking about Earnhardt, his first win was at Bristol. There's so many people that have etched their name in history by getting their first win, or Darrell Waltrip with the amount of wins that he's had, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Gordon. I mean, Kyle Busch now has been able to sweep Bristol twice. I mean, that tells you how good some of these drivers are to be able to win. I mean, even Darrell Waltrip, when you think about how many Bristol races, not only that he won, but won in a row, like how easy is it to get caught up into something? How easy is it to have an incident? Because this track is not easy on cars. It's not easy on drivers. And for Darrell Waltrip to win I believe it was 7 Cup races in a row. It's unheard of. I can't even imagine how someone is able to pull that off. So who knows what's going to happen at the night race this Saturday, but I'm certainly excited because I think there's going to be something unexpected that's just really going to get people jacked up at the end of the race.
And, you brought up wins in a row. Kyle Busch has a tall order on his hand because he's never won more than 2 races in a row at Bristol. And guess what he did in the springtime? He won 2 races in a row. So he's got a tall order to try to win 3 in a row if he wants to do that.
He's certainly got to be one of the favorites at Bristol, but there's so many other drivers that are out there. I mean, Kyle Larson has been getting really close. Eric Jones has been running really well there. And you still got so many of the veterans. I mean, Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, Martin Truex Jr. seems to be running a little bit better there. But then you have some of these young up-and-coming drivers, whether it's Eric Jones, he ran there really well. Ricky Stenhouse runs well there. Bubba Wallace actually led laps, and it was so cool to see the 43 back out in front again at Bristol. But you never really know. And one of the great things about Bristol and short tracks in general is it's a little bit of a equalizer for so many of the drivers that it's not purely based on who has the best car, who has the quickest car. The lower speeds allow some of these other mid-pack drivers to be able to be competitive at Bristol, and their strategy that's involved and running multiple grooves and really knowing when to kind of make your move or be aggressive or kind of bide your time, because really it's a race of survival for 500 laps. I mean, you talk to so many drivers that are out there and they say it's the toughest race on the circuit, whether it's mental, physical, psychological. There's so many of those elements that take place at Bristol. I mean, if you imagine it takes 15 seconds to run a lap at Bristol. I mean, that's over in the blink of an eye. Mm-hmm. And they're constantly running such high speeds within a tight pack of cars. It really gives you an appreciation, especially after you've been here and you've seen a couple of races. And if you've ever had the opportunity to take a lap around the place, it feels like you're on a roller coaster. And to be inside one of those cars at the temperatures that it gets within there and the visibility, how hard it is to see, it really is something difficult to be able to master. And I think that's some of the reasons why you see so many incidents that people are bumping into each other. There's nowhere to go. The temperatures start to heat up in the car, but also within the drivers, their tempers. And sometimes things just happen and you see reactions from them. So it's so hard to predict. I mean, yes, Kyle Busch has been very strong here, but I don't think that it's a given that he's going to win the night race on Saturday. I think there's so many drivers that have shown speed and they know how to get around this track. And I certainly think there could be a few dark horse contenders that show up, and who knows, maybe we'll see a new winner here that kind of makes their way into the chase and kind of jumbles up that whole standings as we go into the chase.
Yep. You definitely bring up a good point there. You talk about the young drivers. We got Chase Elliott has had so much momentum coming off his first win now. And before that, he had been having so many good runs. He's going to Michigan, a track that he usually runs fairly well at. And then, Bristol, he's had some good runs there in the past. He actually did take the lead for a little bit last year in a night race, which was pretty cool. And, he's definitely one to watch. Alex Bowman really surprised me in the springtime, getting a top 5 there. With Hendrick Motorsports kind of improving a little bit, I think Alex Bowman could be one to watch as someone to try to get a first win there.
For sure. I mean, like you said, there's so many drivers that are starting to run so much better. I mean, it's great to see Hendrick Motorsports starting to become competitive. It looks like Chase Elliott is kind of pulling the train, and it's kind of odd to say that with Jimmy Johnson being a part of that stable. But I think that Chase is really starting to be competitive. I mean, it felt like there was a win coming. I don't know if I would have predicted it at Watkins Glen, but he was stringing along really strong performances. He was leading. He was winning stages. And I think that Hendrick is starting to hit on something. And it's good to see those Chevys running back up front again. It certainly could be one of the young drivers. But a couple of years ago, I mean, Jimmy Johnson was able to sneak in a Food City 500 win in the spring, but you can never count him out either. I mean, it's just it's really going to come down to putting yourself in a good spot towards the end, avoiding the carnage, being aggressive, making moves when you need to, but you got to be there at the end to have a chance to win. So there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, and you could even get yourself into an incident or have an issue on pit road, but you can work your way back. I mean, we've seen that happen before, especially with the amount of cautions that we get. Maybe it's a lucky dog, maybe it's taking a wave around, but you just really never know what's going to happen at Bristol. That's the beauty of it.
You know, you bring up Jimmy Johnson. That's one thing I'm sure he'd love to do in his career is win a night race at Bristol. He's only ever won the spring race before.
Yeah, I mean, it's been one of those things. I talked to him a couple of years ago, and he just didn't really have a knack for getting around this place. And it's really interesting that you hear drivers, how they figure out how to get around, or sometimes it's just something clicks. Sometimes it has to do with the reconfiguration of the racetrack. Maybe it has something to do with the car that they're bringing. We've gone through a couple of iterations here at Bristol with NASCAR throughout the years. And some of it with the new traction compound that we put down on the bottom, that it kind of gives multiple grooves of racing. The drivers are kind of fighting for the bottom there for a while because it's the quickest way to get around the track. And sometimes it'll wear out, sometimes it won't. The top part will rubber in a little bit. It's kind of like a chess match at very high speeds, and it seems like some of the veteran drivers are getting a knack for it. Some of the guys that have been good are still good, and then you start to see a couple of other names that creep up there. So it truly is one of these races that you can't really go into the weekend circling 3 or 4 drivers and say one of them is going to win, and that's it. And that's just the beauty of short track racing.
So I have another question here, and I want you to be honest with me here. So since you work at Bristol, I want your honest opinion. Which Bristol do you prefer, the old school one or the new one we have now?
You know, I think the new Bristol, and it's kind of like a new old, if you will. It gives a couple of different grooves and opportunities to get around. I think if you've really looked at some of the last few races that we've had here, the racing has been spectacular. I mean, yes, you do see cars that are running on the high side, but you also see cars that are running down towards the bottom. I mean, even the past spring race, we saw the bump and run. The bump and run was back again to win the race the last few laps. I mean, so regardless if you love the old Bristol or you love the new Bristol or somewhere in between, I think the current race track configuration that we have, the traction compound that we have, really gives something for everybody. I mean, you're going to see great racing at Bristol regardless of the setup, in my opinion. It still beats the 1.5 mile tracks any day of the week. It's a short track. But I think having that lower groove back, and we're us helping the drivers get back down there, but then they have to figure out when they want to start moving to the top or do they want to stick to the bottom. I think it gives drivers options on ways to get around here. But at the end of the day, you still see drivers moving other drivers to win at Bristol. So you see the old Bristol come back. You still have to be aggressive to win here. And I think that's really the beauty of the current configuration that we have set up.
Right. So before you have to leave us, I want to bring up something. You know, one of the most recent changes at Bristol Motor Speedway was the addition of Colossus TV, the giant 4-screen television that sits in the center of it. It's like 4 times larger than what they used to have. The main reason that was mostly brought in was for the football game, the 2016 Pilot Flying J Battle at Bristol. I was fortunate to be there. I was a graduate from UT. Go Vols! Glad we won. And I'm just curious. Do you think we're ever going to see another football game there? Here's just kind of what I've said. I would love to see Tennessee defend the battle at Bristol, maybe against a new school, but possibly even bringing the classic rivalry of Tennessee versus Alabama to Bristol Motor Speedway. Possibly an NFL game one day. I think the Tennessee Titans versus the Washington Redskins would be perfect right in the middle for those two. And other big events that would be great to see there sometime. WWE WrestleMania is a huge event every year, and you guys would set a record no other venue could ever set for that. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think there's going to be some opportunities for us to host additional events. And I think it was interesting that you brought up other things outside of football. And I think that there's possibilities, whether it's another football game. I think we showed that we could put on a great football event. We certainly have things that we learned from having that. Although it wasn't the first football game that we put on, I don't know if everyone knew, but we actually had an NFL preseason game between the Eagles and Redskins back in the 60s. So it wasn't the first football game that we had, but as far as to the scope and size that the Pilot Flying J battle at Bristol was, yes, that's certainly a new one. But I think the great thing about it is it's really opened up the eyes to so many people out there. Yes, we are a racetrack. We're always going to be a racetrack. NASCAR is our bread and butter. But I think other folks are starting to see that Bristol Motor Speedway is an entertainment venue. That's really what it is. It's configured to be able to host different types of events, whether it's sporting events. We had the Kenny Chesney concert the Friday night before. We've had music there. I think we're really open to having different type of events. We continue to have conversations with different groups just to kind of see where people are, what interest level there is. I think we're certainly open to different opportunities, but we really want to be considered a world-class entertainment venue. We certainly are having great races there. That's never going to go away, or not anytime in the near future. But I certainly think that we're open to hosting different types of events at our property, just like some of our other sister tracks. I mean, Las Vegas Motor Speedway has an Electric Daisy Carnival, which is a huge electronic music festival that's there. We've had a football game here. Texas Motor Speedway, I believe, has had the Red Bull air races where they have the mini airplanes racing through the course. So I think whether it's Bristol or just other racetracks in general, we've got to find other ways to utilize your facility throughout the year. And I think that we're certainly getting closer to having that. I think we've opened people's eyes that, hey, Bristol can do other events. They had a football game, and that was really cool. What else can Bristol have? So I think that you'll certainly see additional events. There's nothing that's set in stone right now, but we're having conversations, and I certainly wouldn't rule out another football game. Maybe we'll see some other sporting events or music events. Who knows? I mean, there could even be like an e-gaming conference or tournament there. I mean, you really don't know. The possibilities are endless. And I think it's just great to be able to have a facility like this and to have a leadership team that we have that's open to having other types of non-traditional racetrack events here at Bristol Motor Speedway. So I'm really excited to see what the future holds. I don't know exactly what it is, but I certainly see us being able to play host to other things outside of NASCAR races.
I mean, I'm just throwing this out here right here. We have 4 guys on here. If we had, there's 4 screens on Colossus TV. If we each played each other in NASCAR Heat 3 before the night race at Bristol, that'd be pretty neat.
Oh my gosh, instant sellout right there. Line out the door.
Who do you think would win between all of you?
Oh, it's me.
We're going to find out for sure when we get into our weekly NASCAR Heat 3 league later in the year.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. We need to affirm that I'll win. Oh, man. What other stuff just around Bristol is there? Like, what stuff can fans maybe going to the races expect to see around the area as well?
When you come into the area, you definitely need to go have some pals and try their Frenchie fries. I'm just throwing that out there. That's the best fast food place around Bristol.
That's certainly it's a staple amongst a lot of out of town fans that we have here. There's so much to do around Bristol Motor Speedway. It's a beautiful part of the country. We've been blessed to have what we have here in the foothills of Northeast Tennessee. There's so many outdoor activities that you can go to. Bristol is actually the birthplace of country music. I know a lot of it's based out of Nashville now, but we actually have a museum that race fans can go check out to see how the first recordings came to be. A lot of interactive elements there. Our downtown Bristol and Johnson City and Kingsport, which make up the Tri-Cities market, there's a lot to do there. And one of the cool things that is actually happening this August is each city is going to have a race party, one city for each night. So on Monday night, Kingsport is going to have a kickoff party. Tuesday night, Johnson City is going to have a kickoff party. Wednesday night, Bristol is going to have a kickoff party. And then the activities start to pick up at the track on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So there's so much to do around this area. People come in, they stay for a while. It's kind of a vacation. Yes, they're going to go to the races. Yes, they're going to go check out the fan midway. We've got concerts. We've got interactive elements there. But people will go and venture out, whether it's just checking out the cities, going to museums, maybe going to a lake, hiking. There's off-road trails. There's so much to do around the city of Bristol. And I understand that some fans can just come in for the night race and then they leave. But if you want to come and spend a few additional days around this area, there's certainly going to be something for everybody to do in Bristol. And I think it'll enhance their trip and their Bristol experience even further if they're able to do that.
One thing I'll say about Bristol is I love shopping for NASCAR memorabilia. You will not find a better selection of memorabilia vendors than Bristol. When you go to Bristol, it is lined two sides of the road of nothing but tents selling NASCAR merchandise from various years.
It's really become its own city, and we have so many campers right around the property. We don't have a lot of hotel rooms just because we're not a big market. There's not a reason to have so many hotel rooms throughout the year. So there's so many campers. It's literally like a city around the track. And so many of the fans, when you talk to them, they continue to come back because it's a family reunion, and we call it a family reunion. That people will meet their camping neighbors, and they become friends. They talk throughout the year. They can't wait to come back and hang out again, or they might go do another racetrack as part of their year, or they might go on a vacation. There's so many of these little pockets and communities that you see form around the Speedway and the campgrounds that it essentially is a city within itself during the race weekend. And it gives people an opportunity to fellowship, hang out, listen to music, maybe have a couple of cold drinks, tell a few lies, play cornhole. It's just a part of that whole racing experience. And if folks have the opportunity to camp, it gives you a whole nother appreciation for what a NASCAR event is. I mean, you see a little bit of it at college football games, depending on where you're going, but no other sport do you see it like NASCAR, and especially at Bristol, that it's part of a multi-day, sometimes week-long experience that, yeah, there's a couple of races thrown in there, but you're really just kind of hanging out with everybody and just having a really good time. There's so many people. You'll come as strangers, but you'll leave as friends or family, and you'll be looking forward to coming to that next reunion next year.
I'm glad to hear all that, because I now know what I can expect when we all meet up in 2019.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you talk about a family reunion. That's kind of what we'll be doing. It's a little family reunion there.
Mm-hmm. Hey, we'll definitely look forward to it, and we'll roll out the welcome mat for you.
Sweet.
Maybe you'll have to get back in touch with us closer to next year about what kind of deals for 4 tickets we can get.
That's a plan.
Yeah, so we don't want to take up too much more of your time, but thanks again. This is Chris Perrin, the director of brand and consumer marketing at Bristol Motor Speedway. Thanks for coming on here this evening. I think I speak for pretty much everyone that Bristol is one of everyone's favorite tracks. So night race is always one of the highlights of the season. So I know we're all looking forward to it. So thanks for coming on tonight.
Yeah, hopefully everybody can at least tune in next Saturday. And we still have tickets available. People still have the opportunity to come down, come to the Cup race, come to the Xfinity race, or the truck modified doubleheader on Thursday, or a different combination of them. And if folks are interested in getting tickets, they can go to bristolmotorspeedway.com or call 423-BRISTOL. We have a great staff that will take care of anybody who's interested. We'll answer all the questions that you have. And whether it's this year or in years to come, we hope everybody can at least experience Bristol in person at least one time.
And be on the lookout for Danny B. I'll be sure. I'm actually probably going to be going to all 3 races this year. So,
that a boy.
Yeah. So thanks for coming on. Hopefully we'll get to talk again soon. And I put a link to Bristol's website in the description. So if you don't have your tickets, you live in the area, or you just want to fly across the world because it's probably worth it, definitely go check that out. So yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us, guys. It's Bristol, baby.
It's Bristol.
It's Bristol, baby.
Have a good one.
See you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And
that's awesome.
For sure, if you guys, if you can even go to the Truck Series race, guys, tickets start at just $30 for that one as a general admission wherever you want to sit. So,
yeah, Bristol's always been one of my bucket list tracks. Definitely gonna have to head out there one of these days, sometime very soon, hopefully.
Oh yeah, 2019. That's the goal.
I'd like to go sooner. I'd like to go either in a couple weeks or in April, get kind of warmed up, figure out where the best are.
I'd like to go to the 500, the Daytona 500 first, and then I'll get there.
Probably not next year, but I'm thinking maybe possibly 2020 Daytona 500. I might even be going. We're still not sure, but might even get a chance to go to the championship race next year.
Oh, for sure.
Sweet. Well, man, it looks like the chat's pretty pumped about it too.
Oh yeah, we definitely have a lot to talk about today. Did you have something else you want to say?
Oh, I was just about to say, lick the like button. Lick the like button.
Yeah, lick the like button, and then
the like button.
Really quick before we get into anything, I saw it earlier in the week. A few people were tweeting out about it. A little more serious, really quick before we get into all the fun. Everyone here knows who Sam Bass is.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
He designed like the guitars and did the paintings and stuff at Phoenix. Well, just in case somebody watching out there might be of service to him, he's looking for a kidney.
That's right.
I don't have the links on me right now, but I know that like Dale Jr. put something on his Twitter and a few other drivers have. So check there. Who knows if you know somebody who can help him, that'd be amazing. So I just wanted to plug that. I think with the contributions he's made to the sport, that we can always do that for a minute or two. So that's all I just wanted to plug in. We can get into the fun stuff now.
No, that's really good. I'm glad you threw that in there. But yeah, so we do have a lot to talk about today. I guess we should probably start with we're talking about the Watkins Glen race from this last weekend. Talk about who getting his first ever what. So we get to talk about all that stuff.
And who being right in predictions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm sure he's going to let us. He's not going to let us hear the end of that. I'm sure. So.
Well, no, I already made a video on it. So
yeah, it's got the outro and everything.
Yeah, I got the outro and stuff and everything, man.
It was a video.
He's going to end the stream saying, "This is Black Flags Matter," and I was right. I know he's going to.
No, I already did that in the video. Come on, I'm just gonna soak it up this week. But after once we hit next week and stuff, it's gonna be old news. So
even a stop clock is right twice a day. That's how the saying goes. At some point he was gonna win.
But a blind squirrel finds a nut.
I mean, I tried to tell you guys.
It's gonna be old. It's gonna be old news until he wins that second one in a row. Oh, spoiler.
If you watch N2SC4s, man, just wait until you hear my other win prediction. If you didn't hear it, I know Eric heard it. But, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So but Watkins Glen, I thought it was a very good race. From start to finish, you had some crazy racing the first couple of laps. People acting like it was lap 89 on lap 1, so it was ridiculous. But things started to get sorted out, and I thought this race. There was really only 3 contenders really all race long. You had the Toyotas of Busch and Truex, and then you had Chase Elliott, who quickly seemed to establish himself as one of the best cars. And kind of slowly but surely, the other contenders dropped out. Kyle Busch had that fuel injector issue late in the race. Truex ran out of fuel and whatnot. And at the end of the day, Chase Elliott was the last one standing. So I thought it was really exciting for Chase Elliott to get a win. It was a great day for the sport, something that I think, despite everything else that's happened lately, is not going to be completely overshadowed. I think everyone will we'll sit back and remember how great this weekend was. Because I also wanted to mention we also this weekend was great, not just for the Cup race, but we also got to see some rain racing with the Xfinity Series, which is pretty fun. So I thought it was a great weekend of overall racing. Watkins Glen still my favorite road course personally. I'm glad we didn't have like the Sonoma marketing guy on. He would be really mad at me for saying that. But Watkins Glen, always a fan favorite, another sellout. I mean, there's really nothing bad about the race itself. I'm trying to think of anything like bad that happened, and there really isn't anything. It was really mostly all positive stuff. Isaac in the chat gives it an 8 out of 10. Seems fairly accurate, So that's how most fans seem to feel. So what do you guys think?
I think it was a. Oh, go ahead.
How about those first 2 laps? That was the hardest racing I had seen in quite some time.
I have to agree. Yeah,
I know. It's like, was there like some sort of bet among them, like who could lead at lap 3 or something? Like, because it was like 7 cars going for the lead. And then on top of that, I think what made it really good, and I think I put it on Twitter too, is the announcing that NBC was doing, sort of the MRN, PRN style radio with people around different parts of the track. That just made it keep going. They had that fast pace going those first 3 or 4 laps.
I think you really need that maybe a couple of different tracks. Like that's actually not a bad idea for a track like Daytona or Talladega even.
Yeah, I mean, I think that. Well, I just like that NBC compared to Fox seems to be like. I know they had coverage of NASCAR before, but it's like that new kid on the block that's still trying to prove themselves. Where it's like, well, let's just try this. Why not? Like let's try this with the different scoring tickers, and let's try this with the announcers in different spots. I think they did that last year too, but still, I mean, it's something different. I like it.
Basically, Fox is pretty complacent. It seems like hey, I feel like I think they feel like oh we're the best NASCAR coverage and stuff. Meanwhile, NBC seems pretty hungry on trying to be number one, and they're number one by a heavy margin in my opinion. But yeah, man, just the racing all weekend was awesome. It was just real awesome.
Hate to say like this, but it feels like the only thing Fox has really going for it is 3 seconds of a former driver saying boogity, and then they have a brief period where they crank it up where it's literally just saying nothing.
And a good throwback to their old soundtrack, but that sort of just was shoved in there like last second when fans after 12 years were like, hey, bring it back.
Yeah,
I still refuse to let the Fox slander go by silently. I still think Fox is as good as ever. I think they suffered this year from a lack of good racing. I think beginning of the year we had Bristol was a great race, but unfortunately it was on a Monday afternoon, so nobody saw it. Texas was better than usual. Daytona 500 was great, and nobody complains about their coverage in that race. Fox, I agree with you said, they're complacent. They haven't really changed anything in a while, and I will give you credit. I will give NBC credit. They have definitely upped it impressively, but I still just love Mike Joy and Jeff Gordon are way better than Rick Allen, Jeff Burton, Dale Earnhardt Jr., any of those combinations. I did like the MRN style commentary, but you can't look over the fact that poor Dale Jr. was a deer in the headlights every time they came towards the carousel. Hamlin still in the lead, 2 car lengths now. Through the carousel, like I'm not even exaggerating. He'd say about 12 words every lap, and it was basically just 3 like little chunks, which isn't bad. I mean, he was doing his best, and the excitement really came through. So, like as far as tone was concerned, I really liked his commentary, but he wasn't given any substance during those parts.
Yeah. I'd have to. I would agree with that. But I mean, just the racing all weekend was just awesome. Yeah. And I mean, that's expected. It's Watkins Glen, But I mean, those first 3 laps were. They were just crazy. I didn't expect all this bumping and stuff like that. I mean, all this like aggressive racing to happen this early. I know it's Watkins Glen, but geez. I mean, Logano was already out, and then Almirola had spun out already within the first 3 laps. And I was like, wow, there goes 2 of my fantasy picks. Done in the first couple of laps, But luckily Chase Elliott won. Luckily Chase Elliott won, so I was the only one who picked him in NASCAR Nixon's league, so I ended up winning that weekend. So that's 2 wins on the season. For this season.
Nobody else picked Chase Elliott? Like even just out of love? Like they didn't just think, wow, I'm surprised.
I mean, it just didn't it happened, but no one really would have said, hey, Chase Elliott's first one's gonna be on a road course. No one would have really thought that.
Yeah. Even though his first NASCAR like main 3 series wins was on a road course. That's the thing I completely forgot about the fact that his first truck series win was a road course. I was like, oh.
It was. But his nationwide one wasn't.
Darian does know. No, it's Darian does actually know what he's talking about.
Just his performance on road courses in general in all three series is. They're good. They're pretty good in my opinion. They're better than most. So I was like, you know what, I could see that happening. And then after he ran well at Sonoma, I was like, yeah, he's gonna get his first win there.
I'll be honest with you. Now that we've seen him win on a road course, I think he looks fairly good for the playoffs. Like you got the Roval. Be curious how he does there. Then after that you got Talladega and Martinsville. See how he runs there. And then the round of 4, you got Phoenix. See how he runs there. He's definitely has a fair shot.
I think the big thing that's holding Elliott back, and I think what a lot of fans are sort of overlooking, is just Hendrick is on the right path, but they're not exactly back per se. They're more. It's like Hendrick went from being a 15th to 20th place team to being like an 8th to 13th place team over the last few months. And I think Elliott's really the only one who's been competitive in that time, and obviously with the win yesterday or Sunday that proved it. I think that's the thing for Elliott that he has to. I think the Elliott fan should be most worried about is that Hendrick is going to be the only thing that pulls Elliott back because he is head and shoulders above everyone else at Hendrick right now. So
you guys do realize that this is now Chase Elliott's team now, right? Basically, Jimmy Johnson, like pretty much like him pushing him. That was a symbol. He's like, you know what? This is your team now. This ain't my team anymore. My time's up. This is your team now.
Watch him go win like 8 races next year.
I don't know. I think Chase Elliott's the best car now, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Hendrick is not back. We forget how dominant they were from like the early 2000s to basically 2 years ago. They were absolutely dominant. But more recently, you've seen Chase Elliott clearly step up head and shoulders above everybody else. You've seen Alex Bowman run better, but you have not seen Jimmy Johnson be anywhere close to what Jimmy Johnson used to be able to do. So to say Hendrick is back is still not great. It's not accurate, but Hendrick is definitely on the right track the last few months.
I guess some other performances we can talk about. Oh, and first off, hi Natalie, I saw her right there.
Yeah, second of all, I have people coming in and out left and right, so that's why I keep having to mute my microphone. There's so many people that just like keep storming through like the castle right now.
I was gonna try and just let it slide, but I could just see the other smiling. I'm like,
I got distracted. I looked over, I was like, there's a person. I forgot she was here. No.
And I got to say one thing, and it's again, I'm not the biggest Kyle Busch fan, but that was impressive. That run up to, granted, he finished about the 20 seconds back.
Yeah.
But that run up to third, me and my dad were sitting there, and we both are not Kyle Busch fans, and we're like, if there's a caution, like with him, like just bowling without, going forward, I could see him winning this race if there's a caution.
It would have been a close battle. It would have been a really close battle.
I'm just every time I looked up, it's like because he restarted like in the mid 20s,
29th, I think.
29th.
I can tell you this right now: if that was Kyle Busch behind Chase Elliott, and if Chase Elliott still choked on that final in that final turn, he would have lost. Kyle Busch would have. He wasn't going to choke.
Truex got to his bumper and he didn't put the bumper to him. Like that was what I didn't get is he had the chance to get by him.
Well, that's not Truex though. Like I don't think that's not him. He doesn't just like bump people to get the win.
But I'm just saying that's the difference between like really good and great drivers like Truex and drivers who are like just all around phenomenal talents like Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick. Is those two will do anything to win. They will move you out of the way to win. Same with like a Tony Stewart or a Gordon, a Johnson, whatever. If need be, and if it presents itself, they will move you. And it's like I saw Truex when he got right to his bumper. I was like, even if he gets back to him, he's not going to win. Elliott just has to block him. He's not going to move him.
I think what was interesting with them being 20 seconds ahead, one thing we never really heard much on the broadcast was the fact that Elliott and Truex were so low on gas. I didn't really realize that Truex was about to be running out of gas. That wasn't really mentioned much. And I about wonder, was everyone else aware of that and just saving back or something?
Probably.
Yeah, I wanted to say, like, I don't know that just because you're not willing to bump someone out of the way doesn't mean you're a great driver. Like, I don't get, like,
no, but
like,
I mean,
I get what you were trying to say, but I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure that was clear. Like, because I think Jimmy Johnson's a guy who doesn't really bump people out of the way, and I think also the point, I think Truex, not only is he kind of a nice guy, but he also, do you really want to be the guy who, after Chase Elliott leads this whole second half of the race off on a technicality, you bump him out of the way to beat him?
Danny.
Do you want to?
I totally would.
We saw what happened to Denny, so it's like, you know,
I want to win. Like end of the day, what happens? That's the difference between, you know, if that's the difference between missing the Final Four and making it, is those few points. You know,
maybe
with those playoff points, it's just, I don't know. He had the opportunity, and I think he could have got at least far enough ahead to maybe coast to be in front of him. Probably not, but still, you know, who knows?
Okay, I'm very sorry for killing everyone's ears with saying Denny. I'm sorry.
I told my mom. Oh, just really quick. I told my mom this. Once he won and stuff, I was like, this. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest here. This feels like a junior win. You know, everyone's just happy about it. You know, like everyone's up and down cheering. And immediately she was like, no, not even close. I'm like,
it's funny you say that, because I was watching Fox Sports' like, you know, the radio highlights for the weekend, and one thing that come up was when Elliott did take the lead, the team of Boyer, they come across the radio and said, "Dang, sounds like Dale Jr. just took the lead." So I mean, it did. It definitely had that same feeling to it, and you know, I'd love to see Elliott win it at Bristol, because you know, the thing is, it's loud. It was loud at Watkins Glen, but think of, like, it's such a spread out place with the grandstands and stuff. You're only really seeing that one little section of stands. Imagine Bristol if Elliott wins.
Oh yeah.
So basically, what we've learned also from the stands this weekend is that NASCAR's most popular driver award is an award of nepotism. So,
I'm sorry. You know, I'm a Bowman fan. I like Elliott, but you know, I'm a Bowman fan, but it's pretty clear who's going to be winning the most popular driver award.
I personally love Blaney, but
I thought Bubba would be in the running for it as well. He might be, but
here's the thing about, like, the popular driver thing or whatever is, like, okay, so I over his career, Junior, you know, is most popular, one starting from just name, whatever, but just for the person he is, right? When I see, like, drivers with personality, like, more like his, I actually don't think Chase Elliott. I think more like Ryan Blaney. And so I was thinking, like, man, give Blaney some time. I mean, I don't think he'll beat him, but I think he'll be, like, right up there in popularity with Elliott. Like, I don't know. Blaney's just a one-of-a-kind personality when you look at him off the track and stuff. So that's just what I'm...
Blaney is somebody who just... He doesn't see anybody as anything better or lower than him. Like, he's just an overall good person, which it's funny we mentioned that.
Chill.
Yeah, it's funny we mentioned that, because I was talking to these guys earlier. I'm also pretty big into bass fishing. There's been a big controversy going on in the world of bass fishing where people who are professionals, like on the same level in bass fishing as a Cup Series driver, who are actually bullying young amateur anglers online, and it is such a disgrace to that sport. I'm eventually gonna make a video on it. You'll just have to wait and see when it comes out.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know, that compared to NASCAR and stuff, like, let's say, like, Chase Elliott out of nowhere just decides to, like, bully and, like, just a local driver and stuff online, that would just oh
See,
man,
I don't think so. I don't think I think that's one thing we're lucky with NASCAR drivers. Maybe it's sponsors, with a lot of them not going to different, like, local tracks and stuff, but it's like NASCAR drivers in general, even the biggest jerks, are still really nice to the fans for the most part. Like, everyone hates, you know, Kyle Busch, and he's, you know, a jerk on the track, but it's like, I've met him before off the track. He's not a bad person. He's, you know, you've seen the stuff he does with fans and stuff, like that time after he won Martinsville. He's not a bad person. Harvick's the same way. He stopped for me, you know, right before qualifying was starting at Chicagoland. You know, I think that's one thing that as NASCAR fans we take kind of for granted, but we're also really lucky to have, is that just the drivers top to bottom are really, really good people.
They're all easy to root for, and you know, that's why when you do get, like, a scandal or something, which is very, very rare, but when something bad does happen, it kind of surprises everyone, because it's just, you know, you don't really see it. And I fully agree. That's why whenever people are always trying to ask me who my least favorite driver is, it's like, I hate to say that I hate anyone because I don't. Like, I don't maybe not like how Kyle Busch races on the track very often, but like,
yeah, I wouldn't say.
When I see the kind of person that Kyle is away from the track, though, and what he really does for the people who are his fans, like, you know, it makes it too hard to really dislike him.
Yeah, there's really nobody in NASCAR I root against actively. You know?
Yeah, Kyle Busch, I mean, his fans and stuff. I mean, he does a lot for his fans and stuff. I mean, you see the videos all the time and stuff. You know, he'll sign something while, you know, he's in traffic. He'll sign something while at an In-N-Out drive-through, or like, you know, the day after he wins a race, he'll see you know, on his way home, he'll see a Kyle Busch flag on someone's RV and stuff. He'll sign that and stuff, and also Keselowski as well. He's been in the infield at Michigan as well, and you know, Jared did a video on him and stuff. So I mean,
if you haven't seen that, go watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very good video.
Brad Keselowski's, he's so good. I like your video, Jared. He kind of is also the fans' voice as much as he is just good with the fans. He's just that's another guy. I used to really not like Brad Keselowski, and I'll be honest, I didn't like him that much off the track either for a few years there. But I feel like the last 2 years, he's really, I don't know, he's just impressed me across the board. It's a shame he's not running very well this year because I feel like I keep forgetting he's in the Cup Series, but you know, he's been a good. You know.
He's not running well. He's like top 10.
He was like 4th at the beginning of the year. Now he's like 11th or 10th in points.
Look at consistent point standings, not that playoff BS. Look at the
even with the. I'll look him up.
He's top 10. He's been falling.
He's been falling.
Yeah, he's top 10, but it's like, especially with the pace the big three is setting right now, it's like if you're not running up near them, you're irrelevant at this point.
And also I found this out today too, looking at the consistent point standings. This is how bad the playoff system is. Right now, William Byron is ahead of playoff driver Austin Dillon. Let that sink in.
Oh yeah, no. Daniel Suarez is ahead of playoff driver Austin Dillon. You know, Ricky Stenhouse, Paul Menard. There's Austin Dillon. What is he, like 23rd in points?
21st or 22nd, I believe.
Yeah, he's garbage. I don't know why he's in the playoffs. This is the biggest problem. When Chris Buescher made it in, people were like, "Oh, but it's Chris Buescher. He's a rookie. It's a great thing." No, he shouldn't be in the playoffs. Screw that. You know, it's the same thing with honestly with Tony Stewart last year. Like, I get it was a feel good story, but why was he in the playoffs? Or 2 years ago? When was it? Last year? I don't remember.
2016.
2016. Yeah. Well, hey, that's NASCAR's fault. He won.
I know. I don't blame him. Shoot, I don't blame the driver. Like, I blame the sport.
Yeah, that's like when I have my own thoughts about Kyle Busch's 2015 championship. I don't blame Kyle Busch at all. He and his team completely perfected that system. That's all NASCAR's fault. Like, NASCAR said, just like with Chris Buescher making it in, that's not his fault. It's NASCAR's fault. You know, and I don't get these fans who blame the drivers for it. It's like the drivers are given the rule book to play with. Granted, it will change on a whim, but still, they go with that rule book. And it's like, this is it's the same story the last 15 years. It's NASCAR's fault. It's not their fault, you know?
So I see a little super chat question here.
From Uncle Tom Cruise. Thank you very much.
What is so he asked, then what past NASCAR point system is the best? And I know we've
the consistent playoffs,
yep,
of course. The system that worked for 30 plus years. And then until we decided, let's just change it on a whim, because why not?
God, we need Kamikaze here to do his Brian France voice. So
I'm gonna say either the 04 to 07 chase or the up to 2013 chase is my favorite. But
it was really the same.
It's basically the same, but I think 2013 and 2011, 2012 is when they let in 2 wildcard drivers based on wins, like 11th to 12th. Like, that's kind of, I didn't mind that, but I don't know. I'm really, I could go anyway.
If we had the consistent point system this year, if we were running it, Kyle Busch is basically running away with it. He has a 70-point lead ahead of Harvick, and he also has a 121-point lead over Martin Truex Jr. So it wouldn't even be a conversation about, the big three. No, it'd just be Kyle Busch.
I think in general, if just the overall racing product was better, I don't think the fans would actually argue as much about the chase and about the old system. It's just a lot of the times, especially this, earlier this past year when the aero package is so bad and stuff, it's just, then it just gets more prevalent.
I'm going to be honest.
It's like if the racing is bad or not as good as it used to be, it sort of amplifies every problem NASCAR has, whether it's artificial or not.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't complain about it as much. If the racing product was good, I'd be like, okay, well, I think we just need to change the points. But I mean, since the racing product is so bad, I mean, or it's just not up to par like it used to be right now. It's like it is amplified.
Well, it's like if you just look at our show here, if you look before maybe Sonoma or so, how many times we actually talked about the point system and stuff? It's like it actually, because I went back and just sort of looked through some of the comments and stuff. You can sort of tell who said what when from that. And it's like we talked about it a lot. You know, we didn't talk about it after like Bristol or something. But then, you know, these last few weeks, I think this Super Chat's the first time we've really brought it up since before Chicagoland.
It's a fair point. That's a good point. It's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I don't really care about the championship right now just because the racing is so good, you know, and the storylines are good for the most part.
At this point, it's kind of turned into like any other or many other sports, at least, where you're not going to win the championship in August for NASCAR. You know, it really isn't going to matter. Points aren't going to matter for another month.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. That's the problem.
Because the thing that's disappointing is we don't even have a good like playoff bubble battle like with Bowman and Stenhouse. Like Bowman has run away with it.
Exactly. So it's not like this point system was designed to not only have so-called parity, but also it was designed to create a closer points battle. And the bubble, I mean, Bowman's ahead of Stenhouse by 62 points. It makes no sense.
It'll be it's closer for the playoffs themselves. Regular season, it totally screwed up the regular season. That's my biggest problem with it.
My biggest thing is what's going on that no one's able to go past Stenhouse in his spot. That are they all doing bad now? It's like dang, as bad as Stenhouse has been doing, and Bowman's been getting away. Why isn't Paul Menard getting closer or something like that? You know.
Hey Darian, can you look up really quick the normal full season standings and then look at the cutoff between 12th and 13th? Granted, now I'm going to say this right now.
I looked at the cutoff between
differently. They'd race differently. We know there's your little blurb for it, but between like 10th and 11th or 12th and 13th.
I looked at that today, and it's pretty close. Chase Elliott is actually behind Ryan Blaney by, let me see,
20 points. I have it right here. 20 points behind Elliott. And then Almirola's 17 points behind him, and then it's like 30 back to Jones. So it's pretty close.
And what's max points? Max points is like 60 points, right?
Yes.
And then so I mean, 59 points is a full race. 17 points, that can 20 points that can be made up and easily in a race, and then doubled.
Yeah. So this is how bad it is. Austin Dillon is only 2 points ahead of Jeremy McMurray right now in the regular season standings.
And I'm still surprised McMurray's had such a bad year. I mean, honestly, he made the playoffs last year, I think, on points. He didn't even win. He just made it on points.
He did.
Well, that team as a whole.
Well, and I think that makes what Kyle Larson's doing right now even more impressive. Yep. The fact that he's still up there, like that just shows that it's his talent that's keeping Ganassi afloat right now.
If he's carrying that team at this point, and without Larson, let's say you put in like someone in that 42 ride, let's say you put in like a Paul Menard just for money, that team would absolutely tank. You know, they wouldn't even be in the conversation for the playoffs, not even for a second. You know, Kyle Larson, I'm just going to say he deserves much better than what he's getting right now.
Yeah, he does. So does a lot of people. Again, there's just not enough rides. This is a different conversation. I don't want to start a new topic. I was about to start a new topic, and I stopped myself like.
Yeah, I mean,
well, do we have anything? Oh, you go ahead, real quick.
Well, I was just about to say, it's not a terrible situation, but. Come on, if he was in Joe Gibbs' equipment, he would be like top 2 championship contender right now. We'd be like talking about he would be better than Kyle Busch. I guarantee you that. He would be much better than Kyle Busch is running right now.
I don't know about that. I think they'd be comparable.
The thing is we can't say F too much because if frogs had wings, they wouldn't be bouncing their butt off the ground. So.
Well, I still think, he's going to go full Tony Stewart 2011. They're going to find something, and they're just going to skyrocket to the championship. Even though he won't really deserve it, he'll still win the title.
Larson, he still has a chance because Chevy has gotten a little bit better, most notably Hendrick, or at least Chase Elliott, it seems. Chevy has gotten a little bit better. I think McMurray actually him and Larson both ran 6th, 7th at Watkins Glen. Mm-hmm. So maybe that means Ganassi's also turned the corner a little bit because I don't think Larson's a great road racer. So, that's positive.
Well, I find it kind of odd. It's like, so Chevy can't consistently get all – I don't think they can get all their teams on the same page right now because it's like when Hendrick was doing bad, Petty was doing better than they're doing now, and then RCR was still sort of a 8th to 15th range, and then they fell off. And then you got Larson, who's starting to get a little hotter in the summer, and Hendrick doing better. overall, something is wrong with the bow tie grade, because it's like they can't get it on the page.
It goes to show how important the alliance that JGR and Furniture Row has, and that there's some news came out about that, how they're looking for sponsorship and how their deal with Toyota and JGR ends after this year. So it'll re-up that.
And I think
it shows how that's super tight, and now both teams have been super good. And I feel like the Chevys, like Hendrick engines is with like everyone's there. They give their engines to everybody, but like technical alliances just may not be as close. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I guess because they're sort of running under like an old model. Like they're sort of all still individual teams, while like the Fords and the Toyotas basically are just one giant team. And I think one thing that is hurting Chevy too is so many people have overall have stopped racing for Chevy, because it's like you look back at like 2007, 2008, like over half the field was Chevys, and when you had 3 or even 4 manufacturers at the time, that just amplified how big of a difference it was. But it's just, I don't know. I think they're stuck 5 to 10 years ago with how they're running things. And if they don't all sort of converge into one big super team like the Fords and the Toyotas have, I think Chevy really won't keep up long term with them.
Gotta get with the times.
There's a rumor that Kasey Kahne and that team are going to turn to Toyota next year.
Yeah, so pretty much it's almost like we could be seeing something weird where Levine Family Racing could be about to get like something similar to what we've seen with Furniture Row over the last few years. And I'll just say it like I'll say it like this: if Toyota doesn't want to do factory support to Furniture Row after all that they've done for them since they went over there, they're just dumb right there.
So really quick in the chat, Malik Alexander, Black Flags looks like Bubba, Iceberg, early 2000s, Dale Jr., Eric Boris said, Danny B, Todd Bodine.
I hadn't heard Boris said in a long time. That's a good one. That one's more relevant.
I'm the old onion.
So call me crazy, but as far as Levine Racing goes, could we possibly see like a reincarnation of a Furniture Row Racing here, and also maybe the resurrection of Kasey Kahne's career?
What's that you calling out? What incarnation? Is that what you said there?
No, I said a reincarnation.
I'm just playing.
Yeah, you got that word right. No, I think that would be great for NASCAR if Kasey Kahne had a comeback in his career.
Because the mirror is also there.
Oh,
sorry, I got people running in here all over the place.
No problem.
I got 2 people in the room right now. Both of them are like, "Are we on camera?" And I'm like, "Hold on."
Party at Eric's.
Yeah, Eric's.
But I think it would be great for NASCAR to have Kasey Kahne, one of these really popular, sort of older drivers that I think more people mainstream would know about. If he had a comeback, that'd be great. They should push that. Like if he had a sort of like, late 2010 or mid 2010s, early 2010s Dale Jr. comeback, or like had an awesome season like a 2014 Jeff Gordon, totally push that as one of your marketing.
He's still surprisingly so. He's still pretty mainstream. I was actually talking to a couple females last week about NASCAR, and they were like, "Yeah, does Kasey Kahne still drive the 9? I thought he drove the 9 car still. That was a decade ago."
So that's the new Kasey Kahne, the one all the girls go to.
Yeah, so I mean, he's still pretty well known despite his lackluster performance the past, for the second half of his career. But I mean, I think he'll do good, but as far as like winning a championship like Truex and stuff, I don't see that. I possibly see maybe like a junior comeback. He'll win like a couple races here and there and stuff. So
I just thought of the ultimate dream team, the 3 Caseys. Let's get Kasey Kahne, Casey Mears, and Casey Atwood on a team together. Come on, let's do it.
Casey Atwood. Oh, you better be rich because you're going to be repairing a lot of cars. Yeah, Casey Atwood back. A lot.
Jeez, man.
Hashtag Team Kasey, guys.
And one of them would be sponsored by Casey's Restaurant.
I would like to see Allstate back in the sport sponsoring Kasey Kahne. That'd be a good one.
I think that would be such a good-looking car if they did it.
Yeah.
Have that blue. I'm just looking in the chat and seeing in Grant Aldrich. Is Dale Jr. in the 8? that was good. That's good.
Someone said Atwood is old at this point. Honestly, he's not even really that old. He's actually only 37.
That's pretty old. Pretty old to get back in the Cup Series, at least.
Do you not know how old Kasey Kahne is?
Yeah, but he's been in the league for years, though. Like, to get back in, I mean. You're not just going to hand him.
Don't tell Bill Elliott that's 37's too old to drive.
So how have we forgot to talk about him with all the Chase Elliott stuff?
He deserves at least a mention, yeah.
Bill Elliott.
Nick Sant says Kasey Kahne is 38 years old. Truex was 35 in 2015. So, I mean, and let's be honest, how many of us expected Martin Truex to win, like, how many races has he won since 2015?
No,
like,
come on.
A ton.
If anyone says, "Oh, I expected that," they're straight up lying. Just straight up lying to you.
I said it in my video after Chase Elliott's win. It took 9 years for Martin Truex Jr. to be a championship contender. So that says a lot.
All right. Yeah, but Bill Elliott, man, that was a surprise. I thought it was a joke, but then Jeff Gluck was like, "Nope, this is real. This is a real thing." And I was like, it got me thinking, who are some other drivers I would like to see come back and run for a couple
let's
races?
Let's not do the given ones, like the guys who have retired since like 2013, 14. Like, I think Mark Martin is probably the latest that we can go, because I mean, you're sort of like, they were doing a poll where it's like, who do you want to come back? Jeff Gordon, Dale Jr., Carl Edwards, other. It's like,
I am all for Sterling Marlin coming back and doing a Cup race here, like, there. I'm all for that.
I want to see. It's funny because someone compared me to him. I want to see Todd Bodine do a couple more races in the Truck Series again.
Anyone else think that Todd Bodine? I saw this meme, I think on Reddit, that he kind of looks like when Patrick and SpongeBob was like, "Who are you calling a pinhead?"
I ain't even right.
Sorry. Hey, that dude has a good sense of humor, so he'd probably find it funny too.
And maybe this might segue into our maybe if we're gonna talk about this again, but I would like to see Jeremy Mayfield.
On that segue into our other topic, actually, I was actually going to go into it. Do you guys have anything else you want to say? What other drivers?
Nah, not really.
Have Sterling Marlin come back.
I saw in the chat someone said Montoya for the road courses. So
honestly, I would like to say they actually did bring him back for Indy in the 12 car at one point.
And then slow motion. No, I did not forget the juniors running at Richmond in the Xfinity. It's just we're doing outside the box, people.
Yeah,
I would like to see Montoya come back. I really want to see Montoya win that Brickyard 400. I feel so bad that's one thing he wanted to win and he couldn't do it.
It's like he got screwed with that penalty, and then he screwed himself crashing, which, again, the penalty's more his fault.
Yeah, the penalty's his fault. He screwed himself there. Well, I didn't speed, even though we have a speedometer.
Didn't he swear on his wife and children, too?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to be in a tight squeeze with him. I swear on my friend, I didn't hit that jet dryer. Jesus Christ.
I guess on that happy note, we'll move on to the other big news this week that I'm sure most of you guys have seen on any sort of social media. I know the four of us have all made videos about it. Basically, every other NASCAR person on YouTube has made some sort of video or at least some sort of public statement. I feel like we've all collectively made more statements than NASCAR has actually made about this topic. But yeah, the big news Sunday night after the race, like directly after the race, apparently Brian France, who many of you guys know, the CEO of NASCAR, chairman and CEO, whatever, he's part of the France family, so he kind of just inherited the sport. A lot of people don't really like Brian France. He's kind of got a polarizing figure, to say the least. He was arrested for a DUI and drug possession that he was not supposed to have. So he's gotten himself in some pretty big trouble. Spent the night in jail. It's been all the major news outlets have at least somewhat talked about the story. I wouldn't say this was like a national story. Like, it wasn't the top story on any big news reports, but it was being tossed around quite a bit. So a lot of people, that was what they saw about NASCAR Monday morning, as opposed to Chase Elliott's win, which is very disappointing. So. I've already seen the chat. Most people are very, very, really don't like Brian France. Ooh, yeah, there's some mean comments I'm seeing already. That's I guess not to be unexpected, but I guess everyone here,
angry boys in there.
We've all made our statements. I don't want to go first, but what do you guys have to say about this topic? How does this? What does this mean to you guys? What does this mean for NASCAR?
I just want to clarify. Originally, I was saying I didn't want to talk about this. I'll talk about it just for the podcast. But after that, the way I see it, I don't think he's worth bringing up anymore, because if you just keep giving him attention, that's all people like that are going to enjoy, is getting attention on them. I mean, that's just me. But I'll talk about him for this. The thing is, I was talking earlier about the rant that I'm gonna end up doing about the bass fishing community and how unprofessional that's getting. You know, this just, again, is another thing just ticking me off this week, is just horrible unprofessionalism when you're supposed to be the face of something. You can't go and act that stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I did like a kamikaze style video, and I didn't even mean for it to get there. It just, talking about it made me upset, but I will control myself here. But the thing that made me mad is, like, yes, he has this huge, at least public look of authority. I don't know how much he does have, but I mean, anymore compared to like the sponsors, how much say they have. But it's like, you are a billionaire with, you know, why can't you get another driver? But you are running a sport, and this happens. You do this. You put everyone's life in danger that you're driving around. It's because he ran, the way they found him is he ran right through a stop sign. Like, you know, what happened? You know, and I see people are like, we need to forgive him and we need to be compassionate. It's like, yeah, he needs to get help. But at the same time, do we forgive and be compassionate when he kills a family in a car accident, when he pulls a Rob Moroso? Do we do that? You know?
You don't just go to court and say, I'm sorry, and expect to get away with it.
Yeah. It's like, and the thing is, this couldn't have been a secret. You know, this isn't a secret. Everyone made jokes. I made jokes on here about how it, you know, you can find drugs and everything else and whatever in every city in America. Why aren't you at every race? Like, everyone knew about this. Everyone could see the signs. So you can't tell me that everyone who has been working with him for the past 15 years hasn't seen this. How many people at NASCAR have just shuffled this under the rug? How many people have let this go by? How many people have really, because this won't be the first time he's probably done this either, have let a bunch of people all over the country have their lives at risk being around this man on the road? In my opinion, I put it in the title of my video and I said it, this is a moral dilemma for NASCAR. And I don't even want to really know how many people knew about this, because I feel like, even though I know it's a lot, it would shock me. Like, it's ridiculous that they let this go this long. It's ridiculous that someone with this much money and this much power and this many people around him who runs a family sport is allowed not, you know, to go on like this. Nobody thought to get this man help. Nobody thought, like, listen, dude, you need an intervention. You have one of the most addictive drugs on you. You know, we have an opiate epidemic, and now we have a poster child for it. It's and on top of that, it's incredibly dangerous to have that stuff with alcohol. It's just, I don't know. I'm getting mad again about it, but it's just on all levels, this is horrible. You know, and I think that he should be dragged through the coals. His name should be tarnished more than it has been already, forever, because he has no business whatsoever being around a racetrack or being, you know, even driving at this point. I think he should have his license revoked for years for this.
Well, if we're going to talk about Brian France's legacy and stuff, it was all already ruined before this. This just amplifies how bad his legacy is now. So, I mean, that's no question and stuff anyways. But, you know, as far as, you know, his whole addiction problem and stuff, you know, I will say this. I do hope he can, you know, he can recover as someone who's been through addiction myself and stuff. Not to a certain degree like that. Not with, you know, this is a lot more serious than mine was at the time. You know, opiate, like, you know, just popping pills and stuff and drinking while driving. That's some pretty heavy stuff, man. And this is, I guess this is sort of maybe it's related to this and stuff. Like, I guess in rap music, you know, they just talk about, you know, popping pills and all this stuff, and it's just not cool and stuff. And when people, like, you know, just like glorify that type of lifestyle, I don't like it. And I guess that's just me, but I hope he gets the help he needs and stuff. But as far as the league goes, when I heard about the news and stuff, I just immediately thought this was a joke. And I thought, oh, well, like, yeah, Jarrett said that as a joke before and stuff. This is like kind of a meme, I guess, in our chat. And he was like, nope, this is real. And, TMZ reported on it. It was breaking news on FS1. I was shocked, first off. And then my next thought after that was, what is the league going to do about this? Okay, so this is NASCAR's credibility is on the line here. And it's already came into question with the point system and, certain drivers being, banned from the sport and stuff and all that. Okay. But this is more serious than ever. So
I think it had been apparent for a little bit that, most people was pretty much at an assumption that France didn't really care a whole lot about the sport itself and more or less was just knew there was good money for him in it. And granted, it looks like might be true, but definitely do hope he gets the help he needs. And Darren, let me just say, you opening up right there about a previous addiction, that means a lot for you to share that with us, and definitely appreciate you being honest with us about that too.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's just again, it's not to a certain extent like that, but you can get addicted to anything and stuff. And if you're addicted to something, seek help, immediately and stuff. And I wish you the best and hope you can get that help. But back to Brian France, NASCAR's credibility is on the line here, so you have to decide. I mean, they have to decide, what are they going to do? I think they made a big step. With the interim right now, Jim France, who has had experience before, 20 years ago when the late Bill France Jr. had cancer, he did take over for his brother, and he did a pretty good job, I would say. Nothing drastically changed or anything like that. So I'm really curious to see how he'll do, for the sport as well. But the one problem I had with that statement, an indefinite leave of absence, that's a major problem right there. What it should have said was he's not coming back in any sort of capacity.
Yeah, because that could just be he says, "Oh, hey, I think I'm better now. I'm good to come back."
So literally, I'm not saying this will happen. He could come back next week and just pick up where he left off. I'm going to tell you right now, if he comes back leading the sport, there's going to be a lot of problems with this. Now look, I previously said as soon as this came out, I made the comment on Radman's video. If he was not out by this weekend, I don't think I was going to watch and stuff. And let me just retract that. I had this conversation with my stepdad. He said, well, why would you do that? I mean, the drivers didn't do anything. And I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, well, the drivers, they put on a show, they put their lives on the line, and you're not going to watch because of something someone else did. He made a good point there. So I don't think I was going to boycott. I wasn't going to boycott after that. So I'm glad I had that conversation with him.
Here's what I'll say to that is that it's not really as much boycotting the drivers as much as it's boycotting the organization, the fact that and how corrupt it is. I mean, you wouldn't go. I mean, it's like you see some of these restaurants and stuff and they might put something really bad out about a certain group of people or something. You don't really go to boycott the people working there. You go to boycott the owners who promote that message. And I guess if Brian France were just left with less than a slap on the wrist, it's sort of them promoting it's okay if we do it.
The credibility and the respect I have for the sport will be long gone. Let's take a look at some drivers that have been suspended or banned from the league entirely under his watch because of drugs. Shane Meal, Aaron Fike, Jeremy Mayfield, of course. And by the way, Jeremy Mayfield was right the whole time. We all laughed at him at a point at one time over the past decade, but he's been vindicated. And then AJ Allmendinger as well. And I think there's more, but Spencer Gallagher as well, but there might be more and stuff. And if I'm missing anyone, just leave it in the chat. But if Brian France is allowed to run this sport into the ground again, there's going to be a problem and stuff. And especially after this, there was an article that came out today from the Orlando Sentinel newspaper and stuff. Brian France, it said in the title, Brian France arrested for DUI for driving the sport straight into the ground. So they know what the situation is. I think the mainstream media is also picking up on how actual diehard NASCAR fans feel about him as well. I think they're starting to get that because I don't think they got how much we despise Brian France running the sport and stuff until now. I think they probably saw on social media, people are like, yeah, he's been bad for like, you know, for years since he's taken over. Get him out of here and stuff. And I think that surprised a lot of people because they see that and they're like, whoa, like this is like even on Twitter, Eric, your tweet was on the whole the trending thing for it too.
I'm glad
on the whole story thing and stuff. And you were basically telling non-NASCAR fans who were just scrolling by, guys, we don't like Brian France anyways. So, you know, I just hope, and I don't know if I might be stumbling on my words here and stuff. I'm just trying to think. I just hope he just does not come back and just and runs the sport. Some other drivers, not mainstream drivers, have spoken out. Justin Marks says it's time for a leadership change. Tommy Joe Martin said the same thing. And last year's ARCA champion, what was his name? Austin. I can't say his last name ever. Terrio. Yeah. Austin Terrio even said, you know, I hope he gets the help he needs, but it's time. Even like, you know, Dale Jr. and I guess the mainstream drivers have been saying, well, we're disappointed. They're not saying, oh, we need a new leadership change and stuff. Because here's why, and this is just my last point. NASCAR, this is going to be controversial. It's ran like a dictatorship. You can't speak out against anyone, against Brian France, whether, you know, you think he's right or wrong, no matter what he does, whether you agree with the point system or not. That's why I do not like mainstream NASCAR media. They don't ever say their opinions on how they really feel. If you really think that everyone in mainstream NASCAR media likes every change that Brian France does, you're just as crazy as him to think that. So,
well, that's why it's so important for people, I think, like on YouTube and stuff like that, to for us to talk about this. I mean, we don't have to cover every little bit of it. I say, you know, only if giant stuff comes out. It's like Danny said, don't give him more attention than he deserves and that's credited. It's just that we're the only people really, aside from like smaller drivers who probably will get talked to by NASCAR, especially, you know, ones that are on their way up. There has to be someone to give, you know, to hold them accountable, no matter how big or small their following is. You know, there has to be people that give their opinion because, like you said, I mean, these, you know, NASCAR basically hands out what you say. I mean, look at Jimmy Spencer. Jimmy Spencer kept calling him out, calling out Brian France, calling out Helton, NASCAR. And
where'd he go?
Where's Jimmy Spencer now? He just disappeared after like defending Denny Hamlin, I think, on saying his opinion, which he was secretly fined for. You know, it's that I think that's why people on YouTube, Twitter, just people who aren't mainstream, guys like even Jeff Gluck, you know, he's not being paid by anybody, you know, in NASCAR.
I think to say NASCAR is a dictatorship, I mean, it's the same with every other sport. NBA, you can't criticize the officials, you get fined. NFL, you can't criticize the rule, you get fined. It's the same with every other sport.
But that's the thing, though. You can criticize. You might get fined and stuff, but you can criticize, though. In NASCAR, it's like, nope, you can't say anything at all.
Well, that's never stopped Kyle Busch or Tony Stewart from criticizing NASCAR. If you're talking about the media itself, they don't make millions of dollars, so they can't afford a 20.
Well, come on. They're not going to get rid of a mainstream drivers like Tony Stewart and Kyle Busch.
They're not going to get rid of you, but if you do it consistently like a Jimmy Spencer, they're going to push you off the air because Jimmy Spencer is not drawing in names. Jimmy Spencer is Jimmy Spencer.
But he's giving his opinion, though.
Yeah, no, I'm
giving his opinion.
It's wrong. It's wrong, but I'm just saying it's how it is with every other sport. But what were you saying?
They go so quick. That's the thing. They're so quick to pull the trigger.
Real quick, just all of y'all check the group chat real fast and just let me know something.
Yeah, I'm down.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'll have to pull it up.
Yeah. Wait, like right now?
Like I could send a message and just see if I get a response.
All right, let's go.
See what happens. In the meantime, I'll say my quick bit about Brian France. There's not a lot left to say. Y'all basically said pretty much everything. You know, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they go. What were you going to say?
We'll give this person like 30 minutes to an hour to respond.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think it's, you know, with Brian France, it's going to be interesting to see what they do going forward with Jim France there now. The problem with NASCAR is that it is a privately owned business and that it is owned by this family, so likely they want to keep it in the family unless they can sell to somebody else, which the rumor still is. So there's hope, at least in my opinion, that they could maybe this speeds up a sale because it probably could. It's probably lost NASCAR. I haven't heard of any sponsors dropping out, which maybe they won't. Maybe one or two small ones will, but you know,
I don't think they would drop out just for that.
Probably not, but it's probably still it's going to expedite the the sale if there is in fact a chance of them selling the sport. But as for talking about Brian France himself, the biggest thing, and I agree with what you said, Jarrett, is really just if people around him knew that this was an issue, if he himself knew this was an issue, he needed to be more responsible, to own up and accept it and work to get help, work to fix it, work to change that, as opposed to just kind of ignoring it, letting this continue to spiral into this downward pit, until it ultimately brings down all of us. Because now all of us are somewhat affected. You, me, and like the four of us are all somewhat affected by this, because the sport that we've grown up liking a lot has now faced even further scrutiny because of something that someone in charge has done. Now, as far as like people criticizing Brian France because of him driving the sport into the ground, I'm not going to give him all the blame for that. I'm still, I'm not a big fan of Brian France, but I dislike him more for what he's done in the last few years, which has just been a failure of communication, just awkward public appearances. I wish there was a GIF. There probably is somewhere of him handing Truex the mic at the awards ceremony last year. It's so goofy. So he's overall, his main role with the sport the last few years has not been to determine policy, determine new rules. For the most part, it's been to just be the face and hold down the France name, and he's failed at even doing that, which is just remarkable to me. So I hope he's gone for good. With the way ownership works, there's a chance he could come back. I don't think he'll ever come back as CEO, as the top guy ever again. But there's a possibility that he still will be somewhat involved. If the sport eventually does sell, he's going to get some of that money because it's, kind of he's part of the family that owns it. So, we're not 100% done. We're never going to, what am I trying to say? We're still going to probably see Brian France again someday, but I don't think we'll ever see him at the top with all the power or the control like we have the last few years. And I think that's the way it should be. So that's all I really had to say there.
Yeah, I was about to say, I guess that's one thing I failed to mention. I mean, if he's like still in the sport in any capacity, I guess I can live with that, But if he's making the decisions at the top level and stuff, that is a problem. That is going to be a problem, a huge problem. And I don't think fans are just going to I know some fans might just stop watching altogether. It's like, here's all this corruption. I'm not going to watch it anymore. But I don't know if all of them will, but I will guarantee you more fans will tune into other motorsports, F1 and IndyCar a lot more than they will NASCAR.
It will definitely hurt, if there's such a thing as an approval rating for sports. Like right now, NASCAR's has kind of been dipping. With Chase Elliott winning this last week, it went up. There's probably a pretty good spike. But if Brian France were to come back, viewership will hurt a little bit. But I think more than anything, people who are still viewing it will be a little more disgruntled. We all like the sport. We all watch every week. We have more than our fair share of complaints about the sport. That's just going to be how I think a lot of the fans, they're going to be watching it because at the end of the day, they like the drivers, they like the product, but they really don't like who's in charge. It's the same kind of moral conundrum people have watching football or other sports sometimes these days. Some of these football players get in trouble. You don't really want to support your linebacker who's, beat his wife some point, but, he's on your team and so you're kind of rooting for him, but you're not really. It's a moral conundrum that's hurt football recently, and that's the similar type of thing that could hurt NASCAR if Brian France came back in a major position of power.
I just want to say this really quick. I am all for. I think this guy. I think this should be his shot to run the sport entirely. I don't know if he'll be fully ready, but the way he's running the truck series shows good hope. Ben Kennedy. I'd like to see Ben Kennedy in charge. Because honestly, let's be honest here. All right, yeah, all of us want someone in charge and stuff, but I think the France family, they'll sell, but it's not going to be something huge to where, we're not involved entirely. I think it'll stay in the family. Some people are saying we'll just have Jim France run the whole thing. Jim France is 80 or 70 something. He's not going to be he's not going to keep running it, for the next two or three decades. Ben Kennedy, I think, he has raced in NASCAR before. So he can give a ton of input on the aero package as well. And the way he's running the truck series, it's not bad. I'd say give him a shot.
Here's something that I saw before, but I didn't realize. I didn't realize as much is that I think Brian France doesn't have any actual official ownership of NASCAR. I think it's I forgot. I think it might have been Jim France and then Lisa France Kennedy are the official owners of NASCAR. So it's if they wanted to be like teach a harsh lesson here or just put something good out for the public, I mean, Brian France really wouldn't get anything back from the sale of NASCAR, which that's why it sort of has hit me. It's like, man, like he might have just, granted he has, billions or millions, somewhere in there. He's worth a lot of money. But I mean, someone if he as unresponsible as he proved to be, that might be like a death sentence for him. Like he needs help. Like and in all seriousness, I don't like the guy. I think he's a pretty bad person after what he did there. I've lost all respect for him. I hope he gets help, like just for himself and more importantly for the people around him, because it's not healthy, obviously, and it's not safe for anybody around him.
Also, think about the sell too. I mentioned this on NHC4's podcast. This is such interesting logic. Yeah, we're trying to sell like a majority stake, I think, so like 51%. What way to improve a possible price, but have the CEO who's trying to sell have this incident happen? This just like you're like, I guess like the price you were asking for just plummeted, maybe like in the millions, maybe billions. In this, I mean, it's such a bad situation. I mean, it just makes no sense. Like you're trying to sell it, and I don't know.
And the fact that he's potentially cost his family millions of dollars could be a reason why his family just says, "Hey, buddy, I know you're flesh and blood, but hey, you're gone," and he may never come back. You never know. He might have made his own family mad. Not all families are airtight. There's some drama there. I've watched enough TV shows to know that there can be drama.
Well, there's a lot of families where green means more than red.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Well,
hopefully for his sake, again, I don't like him, don't respect him. Hopefully for his sake, the France family is not that way. But
yeah, I guess at the end of the day, and some people on Twitter, I'm not going to say who exactly said this and stuff, but for some people to just defend Brian France till the very end, it was just dumb. Like we understand, that he has these issues and stuff like that. Clearly, he got arrested for them, but to sit there and make excuses, it's just appalling as well. I mean, did NASCAR not learn from the whole Rob Moroso incident, which they also didn't handle well either? Because they were having all these tributes to him instead of pointing out the obvious to what happened. Like Rob Moroso, if you don't know, was an up-and-coming driver. He killed a mother of two. And then some people, I still get comments on that video saying, well, he had depression and stuff. BS. That's BS, okay? That, like, you cross the line when you put people's lives, when you put other people's lives at risk. You cross the line. And that's when I do not have any sympathy.
Yeah, same here, and a lot of people think it's too harsh. A lot of people think that it's victim blaming, but in my opinion, when you start putting other people's lives at risk, I think that retracts you from being the primary victim of it. When there are people who are on their way to work or on their way home, see their family, maybe go to a kid's baseball game, and unknowingly their life is on the is risk because of you. I lose all sympathy. I lose most of my compassion about it. I don't want him to get help primarily for himself, more for the people around him. It's just it sucks that he'd be able to pay bail. Like it sucks that he'd be able to get out of there because I think he's in public danger.
And also just the ego. The ego another problem.
Bringing up celebrity and the president's name, it's like, please just keep making it a big deal. Like, come on, just keep doing it.
Like, I know, I broke the law.
God,
but
we need Kamikaze
right
now to do the voice. That he does the best Brian France voice. Well, it's amazing.
I know I broke the law here, guys, but I mean, I do know the president of the United States and other celebrities and stuff. So you should let me go. And
they'll pay him. Don't worry. Yeah.
I really wish.
I like the idea of the warden just being like, "Oh yeah, sure you do,"
All right, buddy. It's like, hey, we got someone that knows the president. Oh, third one tonight, bro.
Well, Danny, what are you gonna say?
I really wish we had more time tonight because we almost got someone very big in this discussion on. Unfortunately, schedules have not worked out. We might can get them on for next week. Still not sure. It's kind of just see what their schedules are.
We're not going to say who it is, right?
Yeah, don't say.
We're not going to say who it is. But if you watch next week and they're there, you won't be disappointed.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh yeah, really quick. Since I do, does anyone else have anything to say about it?
No, I pretty much said what I said and stuff. You know,
we still have a Michigan race to predict, guys.
Well, yes, and really quick before I want to bring something up to William Power in the chat. Did y'all see Ricky Stenhouse's throwback? What do you think about their his sponsor, Darian?
You know what? I like it. I like it. You know, and of course,
wait a minute. What's the sponsor, Darian?
I'm not gonna say. I'm just saying. Well, John Deere, of course. I've always said John Deere.
Are you sure that's how it's said?
Yeah, that's. I've always said John Deere. What are you talking about? Anyways, I like the. I like the.
You know, I'm a big hunter, and I love hunting for deeries a lot.
There's no E. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's he's got you there though, Danny. There is no E in the end of that deer.
In deer. There's no E in deer. That's
actually, there's two.
Well, yeah, at
the end.
Well, I mean, you know their slogan. Nothing runs like a deerie.
That's okay. I got the Chase Elliott prediction right. So that
the Chase Elliott meme may have died, but the John Deere meme will live on forever.
I don't know. I think people will get tired of it after a while.
I think
I thought that about Bob Ross.
I'm sorry. We're picking on you, Darren. I think you could use a good berry right now.
Oh my God.
Right now, my mom's probably watching. She's probably laughing as we speak. Hey, you know what?
Salty about the meme.
Hey, no. You know what? I have it coming with the stuff I say to you guys. I should be able to take it too. So I mean, you can't. I mean, you at least give me props. At least I'm taking it like a man.
You are. You
know? I mean, if you can't dish it out. I mean, if you can't take it, don't dish it out, right?
Yeah, like the thing ACS sent us tonight.
Yeah. I will say this on a side note. I will say that Eric's whole tweet about the Houston Rockets, that was pretty funny though. That was hilarious, by the way. So
I'm just saying it's possible.
No, it's not. It's not possible. Come on now.
Oh wow.
Come on.
I'm not gonna turn this into an NBA stream, but
yeah. That's for a different stream. That's for a BS stream.
We
follow us on Twitter.
Yeah. You're missing a lot over there, especially last week. It's been wild over there.
Hey, you know what state I've always wanted to visit though? Maine.
Oh my God, I wasn't sure which one you were gonna go with.
There's a few.
You know, I do love my state, Tennessee. Oh wait, that's actually how you say it.
Oh, right. And with that, like Danny was saying before, we got a race at Michigan. So, what do we all think of that?
Michigan this weekend, big 2-miler. Second time we've been to Michigan this year. Who was it? Clint Boyer won the other race. It was rain shortened, however, so you can take that how you will.
So anyway, he kind of won the race. He won the race.
It doesn't count unless it's my driver.
He had one of the best cars. Anyway, Clint Boyer won that race. So yeah, I guess what do we start? We start with our fails or underdogs. Who do we start with?
We start with our fails.
All right, who's gonna suck? Gosh, I have to think about this. I should have prepared.
Yeah, I should. Actually, I'll go first because other than like winning once, he usually manages to choke and screw up there. And since his teammate has shed the choking manner, I think will keep it up since he sucks the rest of the time. Jimmy Johnson. I think Jimmy Johnson will do bad. He did bad the first time. All of Hendrick did horrible the first time around at Michigan. I think the highest any of them got was like Chase Elliott got 9th or 10th at one point, and then he fell back quick. And honestly, right now, Jimmy Johnson looks like, and I never thought I'd say this, Jimmy Johnson looks like the weakest car at Hendrick right now.
Right now, yes.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to continue because historically, while he's run well there before, Michigan has not been his strongest track. It was one of the few. I know there's some he still hasn't won at, but still, it was like the last one or two that he hadn't had a win at until I think 2014. So I see Jimmy doing bad.
For me, driver I think is going to do bad is someone who actually I shouldn't have picked him to win last week, and he's definitely having, honestly, not that good of a year, and he's never really won at his home track. I don't think Brad Keselowski's going to run good this weekend.
Hey, you stole mine. Mine was going to be Brad Keselowski as well. So, yeah, basically the reasons you just said. Penske's been struggling a little bit more lately. They haven't been quite as good as they were at the beginning of the season. And, yeah, I just feel like Keselowski's been noticeably worse than usual. So I was going to say Brad, too.
Alex Bowman will run into some trouble, and that points battle for the last playoff spot is going to get a lot tighter.
Until he wins Bristol, but just kidding. But it's not just kidding. But
I can't tell. Whoa. What a laugh.
Oh my gosh, he really is becoming the urinating tree of NASCAR.
I'm sorry. That was unexpected. That was funny. All right, go ahead.
But another top 5 run though would have him pretty good again.
So what's next? Do we have Underdog picks?
Dark Knight's picking Di Tillin.
Stupid, but all right.
Die Tillin.
See, I'm just wondering if Darian pronounces it Penske instead of Penske.
You know I pronounce it Penske.
Are you sure? Right. Okay, anyway, Underdogs. Oh, wait, did I go first last time? Yeah, that's right. Okay, Underdogs. Well, so Underdogs / like we'll do well, blah blah blah, whatever. I'm gonna go with, because of how he's been running, not because of his history at Michigan, and because this team has been doing better, I'm gonna go with Eric Jones. I think he'll run top 10, top 5. I don't think that's too dangerous of a pick either.
No, Jones is a very safe pick. I'm going, and I picked him like for Underdog pick probably 3 or 4 times this year now, I feel like. But I'm going to go with Daniel Suarez. He's got back-to-back top 5s this year, or the last 2 weeks. He's got back-to-back top 5s. I just feel like, he promised he'd make the playoffs some way, shape, or form. At the time we laughed, oh, he's not going to point his way, and he's got to win. And when he didn't win Pocono, we're like, well, there it goes. If he keeps finishing top 5, and, if Bowman just has a couple bad races, Suarez could maybe point his way. And I know he's like 90 points back, but if he keeps finishing top 5, we've seen how everyone else has sucked. It just takes Alex Bowman sucking a couple weeks. So I'm going to go with Suarez. He's probably still going to have to win if he's going to make the playoffs, but he's got some momentum. JGR in general, Jones has been so much better. Kyle Busch continues to be great. Suarez is my pick.
I don't see Brad doing good, like I said, but who I do see having a good run is somebody who finished 5th here earlier in the year, and he did get the pole award at Chicagoland. Paul Menard is going to have a really good run here.
Chat will love that. They've been putting Menard in pretty much the whole time. So,
yeah, I'll definitely say another top 5 for Menard at this one.
Yeah, I could too, and that team's good. I mean,
you guys didn't even mention. Well, at least we mentioned it on the N2SC4 podcast. I mean, William Byron got a top 10. It's his 3rd top 10 in the season. So, I mean, Hendrick's turned the corner a little bit. Underdog, William Byron, for sure.
I'm still not sold on Byron just yet.
Byron does, he'll run 20th at, your typical mile and a half, but then he'll go around 8th at Watkins Glen.
Well, I mean,
what to think about him.
You got to give him, you have to give him props, though. I mean, he's running decent. He's basically our age, running against, Harvick, Busch, Truex, and stuff. He's not going to do, he's not going to do that spectacular right out of the gate, but that Watkins Glen finish, that top 10 finish, and he was, it was no slouch either. It wasn't just some field strategy thing that got him the top 10. He earned that top 10 straight up. So William Byron, Underdog pick.
Yeah, people don't remember that Kyle Busch he ran 20th in points his rookie year.
No, he won 2 races that season. Come on, that's not.
Yeah, but still, it was either win a race or run in 25th.
2 races.
That was his whole year.
He won 2 races. That is not comparable.
William Byron so far has slightly exceeded my expectations in that car. 20th, 21st in points is about where I thought he'd be. That's blown me away there.
But that is the old 5 team. So I wasn't expecting that much anyways. Everyone was like, oh, William Byron. He's basically taking over Chase Elliott's ride. No, it's basically the 5 team, just in a different number. No way.
And at the beginning of the season, I was hoping he could maybe make the playoffs. I think I picked him to make the playoffs, so he's kind of disappointed me there. But basically after like a month of this season, when I saw how Hendrick was struggling, I'm like, dang, he's not. He'll be lucky to stay top 20.
He was 16th at one point.
Yeah.
He was in the final spot, but then he kind of just fell off the map there. But he's sort of coming back.
He's met my expectations. He's slightly exceeded.
Where is he in points? Just
20.
So compared to Austin Dillon,
he's ahead of Austin Dillon.
Yeah. But Byron, I wouldn't put Byron in the playoffs, but he is better than
Well, why not? Austin's in the playoffs. Why not? Just put anyone.
He's got a vowel in his name too.
Have a 30 car playoffs. Let's just do it that way,
Oh my gosh. 33 car playoffs.
At this point.
So that would basically be like March Madness, because March Madness, like, the usual teams win anyways. And
do it that exact same way. Do it like seedings. Like this week at Las Vegas, the 1 seed Kyle Busch is going up against the 30 seed Matt DiBenedetto, and if DiBenedetto beats him in that race, he moves on.
Yeah. That's it, folks. We're eliminating all the trucks. We were just drag racing from now on.
I am Brian France now. I just had a great idea for a new playoff system.
Let's drink.
We're just gonna steal it from March Madness. Everyone loves March Madness. Why wouldn't it work perfectly in NASCAR?
Hell, let's just do your whole NASCAR Tournament of Champions thing.
Let's just do it like the Hunger Games, or if you lose, you get killed. How about that?
Oh my
God. We get a new crop every year.
I mean, we have so many young drivers that need good cars. I mean, now Christopher Bell next year, a seat will be open up. There'll be a few seats opened up.
Hey, what's her name? Decker. She'll be in the Cup Series.
Decker will be in the Cup Series in 2 years.
Let's go.
I think this podcast is getting a little dark here now. We're talking about killing NASCAR drivers here now.
Well, they kill each other.
It's okay. It's the playoff system. It's a playoff system.
We've completely forgot that we still have our winning picks, and we're closing in on 2 hours, so we should probably.
Oh yeah, there were still around 200 viewers. Which I wanted to say thank you everyone who's watching for
the like button, y'all. Come on, yeah. All right, picking winners. So I'm not one to go outside the box very much, and this is no different. And I'm gonna pick someone who I think probably will get picked by someone else, or at least highly considered, since he's won 3 of the last 5. Kyle Larson. Surprise!
That's not who I thought you were gonna say.
He didn't really run too well in the earlier run this year, but I can definitely see it.
Even Jeff Gordon and Dale Jr., when they dominated Talladega, had bad runs in there. So
true, and he did run.
Jimmy Johnson.
He did run so well at Chicagoland, a very similar track. So
I think we'll get it done.
Well,
now I just need Eric to pick a big 3 driver, because it seems like each week it's like cursed.
I'm sure he's going to, but I'm not. I'll tell you right now, I'm not. Keep it in Chevy, and we'll just go ahead and do a little showing off here.
Ooh, the Danny B vlog.
Danny B walks to the kitchen.
Returns.
So this tire come off his car.
Is that the Eric Almirola tire that went flying at Daytona?
Yes. No.
I caught it. I gave it to him as a present.
He has the most momentum in the world. 2 in a row for Chase Elliott.
See, I don't want to laugh now, because after last week with Darian.
No, I won't laugh. I think that's a reasonable pick. I mean, Chase Elliott's won 3 stages in the last 3 weeks and a race. Yep. I mean, it hasn't been on ovals yet. He hasn't proven it on ovals.
He has had great runs here at Michigan before. When Kyle Larson won his first race at Michigan, it was either going to be him or Chase Elliott winning their first race that day.
No, yeah, that's a good pick.
He was my prediction earlier on in the year to win this one, and I definitely still see it happening. He's got all the momentum in the world. Things are going the right direction. Why not? We've seen Harvick and Busch, when they won their first one of the year, they went off and they won consecutive. Why not see Chase Elliott win 2 in a row?
I'm not quite ready yet to jump off the big 3 bandwagon. I'm not on the bandwagon. I don't want these guys to win, but
yes, I know none of them will win.
Yeah, I know Kevin Harvick finished second here earlier this year, had the best car in that race. I know he's been a little quieter lately. The talk's been more about Truex and Kyle Busch. But we also haven't been to a big, fast oval in like a month since like Chicagoland, or I don't know. Yeah, I guess that feels like that was the last one. We've been to a lot of weird tracks. So now we're going back to your standard cookie cutter. I think Kevin Harvick's going to come back and show he's got something to prove. He's going to be my pick. Although everyone you've mentioned so far makes sense, except for I know this next pick doesn't make sense to me.
Speaking of Harvick real fast, he's actually got a pretty nice looking paint job this week. He's got it's a mixture between the Busch beer fading into the Mobil 1 car. At Charlotte this year, he did something similar, except it was Mobil 1 mixing into Busch. So maybe that doesn't hold a good sign for him. So we'll see.
You guys missed another big opportunity here for the second week in a row. So Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson are the most obvious ones outside of the outside of the big three. And, they're going to be running up front up there, but I think Chase Elliott, he might get the pole, to be honest, for that race, the way that team's running. I don't see him winning the race, though. I see him getting a solid top 5 finish, though. So at least that'll happen. So this guy, he struggled. Him and his entire team have been struggling the past few weeks. But, when he ran at Michigan, he almost won. I think he won a stage there, too, I believe. Am I right, Eric? Did he win a stage there? Or was he
Michigan? I was not listening. I'm so sorry.
Didn't this driver win a stage at Michigan?
Probably.
I think so. Or if not, it was pretty close.
Wait, do you not know? I thought you knew. You need
no,
to know.
But I think so. I don't know, because I watched it on the plane and stuff. I was kind of dozing off in the race too. So I think he did. I think he didn't. I don't know.
His team's usually pretty good here, so.
So yeah, he had a solid run the last time, and he has finished outside the top 10 the last 2 weeks and stuff, but it's all good. And I'll just add one more thing here. He rode in with Chase Elliott after his first win, introducing him to his fans, saying, "Boy's a winner." Well, this boy is about to become a winner this year. His first win for Team Penske ever, his second career win. Ryan Blaney, y'all, is going to win at Michigan.
You're lucky that that's my brother's favorite driver, because if not, I would not want a driver to lose more in a weekend than that after your
Blaney is going to. He's not going to dominate. Here's how I see it. The final 10 laps, him and Harvick are going to be battling it out and stuff. Harvick's going to choke, and that's going to give the win to Ryan Blaney.
You're getting very.
Is going to choke.
You're getting so specific of that Kevin Harvick is going to dominate the whole race.
Harvick's going to dominate, but then Blaney's going to execute, and he's going to get that lead the final 10 laps.
This is why I didn't want him to get Chase Elliott right, because now he thinks he's the freaking Nostradamus.
No, I don't. I'm just really confident. Confident.
If you do get this right, if Ryan Blaney does win, I don't care how he does it. He could freaking wreck everyone to win the race. Like, I don't know what he could do anything. If he does, though, win this race, I will be very impressed, and I will fully take back everything I've said.
I might be wrong.
I have an idea.
I'm full aware. I might be wrong here and stuff, but I'm not going to say like, oh, I'm some expert and stuff now. I'm just saying. I'm confident.
You referred to numbers like, he hasn't done, he's got 2 straight races outside the top 10. He's been struggling lately, but because of those stats, I'm going to pick him for this race.
No, I go off of, I just question results. And, the last Michigan race, he was running up front.
Yeah. Here's what I say. I say we keep track of our winners, and then whoever from highest finishing pick to lowest goes first to last. That's what I think what we should do.
Okay, we'll start doing that from now on.
Yeah, because if you get it right, I'm going to pick whatever you pick.
I'm going with Harvick this week, because I think the only 2 I've gotten right this year have been Harvick picks.
I got 3 or 4 of Harvick's wins. I was like, man, why am I should just pick Harvick every week. I think I told Danny that earlier in the year.
Jarrett, you can't do that. That's against the rules. Can't do it.
We're changing rules as we go.
I went with Harvick for New Hampshire, and everyone said Denny. So
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's a really bold pick there.
And let's remember Darian. He was what's that word? Humbly.
Humbly.
No, it's humble. I mean,
yeah, humbly.
Yeah, sorry, I pronounced it like you.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, the chat seems to agree with me. Like, oh yeah, Blaney's definitely going to win, and the chat's pretty smart.
Is his name Ryan Blaney or Ryan Blaine? I don't know.
Blaney.
Oh my gosh, we've turned this episode into just memes.
Oh yeah.
I'm so triggered. I'm going to delete my channel now. Goodbye.
Kate Eddington. comments in the chat. I forgot we might want to mention this before, since we're starting to kind of get into that last little period before we wrap up. Ford Mustang is going to be revealed tomorrow for the Cup Series next year.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's gonna look so good. I can't wait to see that. It's gonna be awesome.
And then Ford flushed their dominance down the drain.
Yeah, that's the thing is, obviously they had this planned out well in advance, but did they know they were going to be so good this year with Harvick and everybody? Like they might be kind of like a little nervous now.
We got to get everyone at Roush on the same playing field as Penske. How do we do it? Put the bar down.
Basically.
I'll say this, even though we've seen it a million times in the Xfinity Series, and it's just the same scheme that they always use, but with the colors that they got, I really can't wait to see what Joey Logano's paint scheme looks like on that Mustang. I think that's going to be a sharp looking car.
I've liked that paint scheme since he went over to Penske, and I like that they haven't changed. I hate
when they on a Dodge.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But I mean, it's like I hate when they like little changes every year and stuff. It's like just leave it alone, you know. It's like I think Keselowski's has been the same too the last few years. Maybe it's just that like Roger Penske is at the point he's like, just keep it the same. It works. I mean,
they're
saving different things to look at right now. This is not one.
They're saving so much money on a designer, so
and then you compare that to like Hendrick, where it's like, oh, how's Jimmy doing? Not so good. Well, all right, we'll change the car from black to white.
Hendrick is also saving money on a designer because they're hiring 5-year-olds. It looks like sometimes. So,
I can't stand them. That Hertz paint scheme was pissing me off. Oh,
no,
it was just.
I feel like this is Hendrick right now. They're just like this. It's like, yeah. So my grandson was over the other day, and he designed Jimmy's new car. You want to see? Sure. Ta-da!
Wow!
Oh my gosh, it's actually the 2016 scheme he had. I didn't even realize that. You know how it had blue, white, blue? That's literally what I did. I didn't even realize.
It's like they didn't even put any effort into it. It's like they stopped giving it like two shits.
I got a participation award, guys. Can we have it? Sure.
Here was the meeting when they was coming up with Jimmy Johnson's throwback scheme. Okay, guys, we've got the scheme that is like maybe the second worst we've ever had for Lowe's. Like, it doesn't really make you think of Lowe's too much. Let's throw back to the worst paint scheme we ever ran.
That black pinstripe, or the black with the white pinstripe.
Lowe's better be running like one of their classic paint schemes at Homestead, or else that, like we were saying before, how like other sponsors are really good with their drivers, and then Lowe's isn't with Jimmy Johnson. Like they would have, if they don't give him at least a good paint scheme to go out on, they have given him the shaft.
Did a 2010 one when he won 5 in a row.
Okay, that 2010 one was good. Honestly. All of it from his 5 straight championships and before were good paint schemes. I don't know why they changed from that. So the yellow 48's back.
This is pretty funny to me. It's like the Lowe's won 7 championships sponsoring Jimmy Johnson. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, if they don't run the throwback paint scheme at Homestead, like, oh, good riddance, man. Goodbye.
I'm sorry, but at this point, with how they're running and how Lowe's as a sponsor really just is like, oh, we'll put the stickers on the car and go. It's like they put the bar low, man. You gotta aim low if you put a bar low.
You mark my words, Lowe's. If you don't do a proper throwback at Homestead, I will not buy a 2019 Lowe's diecast. Oh wait.
Well, you do know why they switched to black, right? I've told you guys this story, right? Have I told the chat the story? You do. I've told my mom this. You know why Lowe's switched to black, right?
To be like the 7-time Intimidator or something.
Yeah, because Jimmy Johnson is basically the new Intimidator. So greatest of all time. See, when you're the greatest of all time, you can do stuff like that. So
I don't remember the Intimidator running 15th to 20th on a regular basis.
I don't remember the Intimidator winning 7 championships in 3 or 4 different points formats. Is that what it is? 3 or 4 different?
He's got you there.
So,
well, I mean, 2 different. The 04 to 13 was
3 different.
No, 04 to 13 is basically the same thing.
No, there's 12 drivers this time. Harder.
Oh no! So we got 2 mediocre drivers in it.
Exactly. It's still a change. You got to acknowledge it. Come on, you got to acknowledge it.
Yeah, he won a championship in the age celebrating mediocrity even more.
Hey, real quick, just when we're on topic of Jimmy Johnson here, we still haven't heard anything about. I'm really surprised we haven't heard anything by now of who his sponsor is going to be for next year. I just thought of something really good that would actually make a lot of sense. Back before he really jumped up into Cup with Lowe's, he was actually sponsored by Alltel back in the Busch series. Alltel was then bought out by Verizon Wireless, and we have not seen any other cell phone company since Sprint became so down on it for not allowing them in. They are no longer with it. I would love to see like Verizon, since they are now what Alltel used to be, since they're now under Verizon, bottom out. Hey, why not someone like Verizon get back in it with Jimmy?
Now, there was a rumor in May around the Coca-Cola 600. Red Bull is thinking about getting back into NASCAR. I would love to see Red Bull sponsor a 7-time champion and stuff, but it's not going to work, obviously, because Monster Energy is still sponsoring the series through next year. So
I'd love to see Gatorade.
Yeah, I would too. They've been somewhat with him for a long time.
Well, just because that way, whenever someone rips on him, it's like, why are you drinking so much haterade? Drink Gatorade.
Or even if they don't, I feel like Mountain Dew has went from Dale Jr. to Chase Elliott as their person, but why not get Pepsi more active in it again and have Pepsi get behind Jimmy more next year?
That's Jeff Gordon. I mean, I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, in their Super Bowl ad, they had Jeff Gordon in the commercial. I think like they're associated with Jeff Gordon basically. I don't like even after his retirement. I mean, I would love to, but I don't see that happening.
Well, I mean, all the Pepsi products. Who the hell drinks Pepsi anymore?
Yeah.
I saw a quote recently.
Wow, you just triggered what incarnation? I'm sure.
Oh well. Oh well.
I saw a quote from Rick Hendrick recently where he said that they are in talks with 3 different potential sponsors for Jimmy Johnson. This was, I don't know how many weeks ago this was he said that, but
this was last month. This was last month, I believe.
Yeah. So they got something.
Last month was 8 days ago.
Okay. You got me there. So a couple weeks ago, I guess. This is out of the box, but I'm a huge basketball fan, obviously, and so is Eric. I guess this is more so geared as a sponsorship for Bubba, but I would just like to see Big Baller brand in NASCAR in any sort of capacity. That would just be, I know it sounds out of the box, but that would just be hilarious.
I'm sorry. I can never take Big Baller brand serious. Like, just look up the WWE segment with Dim and The Miz.
I watched it.
That is the cringiest thing I'd ever seen. Like, I've seen a lot of cringy stuff on WWE, but that was the worst that I'd ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah,
slow motion, Good Wrench. Good Wrench doesn't even exist anymore.
Denny Hamlin's had the Jordan brand, for a while. I don't know if he still does, but he's got a relationship with Michael Jordan, so which I always thought was a weird partnership, but it is how it is. So maybe
I mean, Jordan, you think you would want to sponsor the greatest of all time as well?
That's
takes the greatest to sponsor the greatest.
Wait, what was that?
So takes the greatest to sponsor the greatest.
Does Brad Keselowski still have Adidas behind him?
Did he ever? I don't remember that.
Yeah, he did. I don't know.
Yeah. They were like, originally in like 2008, Adidas got in with Dale Jr., but they also got in with Brad. And then when Brad went over to Penske, they were actually, if you notice his championship year, his fire suit, it was actually Adidas brand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, at the time, Junior, he did race for Junior the beginning of his career. And at the time, Adidas and Junior were sponsoring, Adidas was sponsoring Junior. So I think obviously after Junior left, then Keselowski, like Adidas and Keselowski were like, you know what, let's still partner up. And I mean, they both won a championship together, I guess you could say, in 2012. So I don't think he's sponsored by Adidas anymore, though.
Oh, well, I think we've hit the wall. I've hit the wall.
Yes, we've hit
I pulled the dam.
Been a lot of venting. I feel like I'm glad we started off with Chris because we started off on a good positive note, and
it just went downhill.
Before we give our outros and stuff, should we just talk about who we have coming on the next few weeks? Just give everybody a little one-up that way before everyone leaves. Alrighty, so we might have a mystery guest next week. It'll be on my channel, by the way. On top of that, ACS, I'm pretty sure he's coming back, so that should be pretty fun. And then 16-year-old driver Kayla Eshelman will be on. So she'll be, Darian, do you know if she's going to be on right at the start or?
More than likely, yes. I'll DM her later in the week, and yeah, we'll talk about that.
All right, and then August 22nd, that'll be on Danny's channel. We're gonna have Cody H Gaming and MDK, and then also we're gonna have from Save the Speedway, Steven Wilson. So he'll be talking to us. That should be really fun too. Talk about basically what they're doing right now. Then August 29th, fan stream, my channel, because I'm a gluttony for pain. And we'll also have Zach Harmon on. He's a player for Duke. That'll be our off weekend.
Zach is also he's a college football player, senior for Duke University. I think he's a lineman for him. I can't remember if he's offense or defense, but he's going to be joining us. And actually, that'll be just a few days before their first game of the year, getting ready for college football season to begin. He'll be talking not only what his team's looking like for this year, but also how he thinks about NASCAR. He's a big NASCAR fan.
And the week after that, September 5th, that'll be on Eric's channel again. We are 30th live stream, and we're not going to be overshadowing that because we got two pretty good guests in N2SE4R and IDK Player. We've talked about them. And then September 12th, this is the latest one, or the furthest one out that we have pretty much planned up. My channel again, be the last one before the playoffs. Got Bill Lester coming on and Dylan Smith. So that should be fun as well.
I will say this. There's a slight chance I unfortunately might not get to make it to that one because I'll probably be on vacation. My birthday will be a few days before that, and I'll most likely be going away maybe to Myrtle Beach for that week.
Ooh, well, happy early birthday. Have fun. Catch some rain.
Beach is more important than us, I guess. Whatever. No, have a good birthday, man. Have a good birthday. Don't worry about it. We're all good. We're good.
Look at Danny having fun.
JJ Cool. Skull, JJ Cool. All right, yeah, that's what we got really coming up through about the middle of September. So that should be really fun.
Yeah.
Now we can officially do our outros. Who wants to go first?
I'll go ahead and say goodbye first. This is Danny B from Danny B Talks. Hope you've all had a good time tonight. New content's going to be coming out. I would like to get something out this week, but it's just looking like the way things are going this week, most likely can't. So we'll push to get some better content out next week. Got another 5 drivers you forgot about planned out. Got it recorded. Just need to edit it up for you guys and work on a few other projects. And that's it for me. I'll see you.
Uncle Tom Cruise with the super chat. He's on fire tonight.
Oh man.
Do you see it, Danny?
No, I didn't. My chat's loading.
I'll read it. It says, "Happy early 55th, Danny B Talks."
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just gonna be 23. I'm not even that old.
I don't know how to follow that up, so I will. So I'm the Iceberg. Subscribe to me. I'm only like 54 subscribers away from 1,000, and you know what that means? 50 Shades of Grey. So tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dog, tell them all to subscribe to me. Let's see if we can get here by the stream next week. That should be fun. I like to torture myself with 50 Shades of Grey, right?
I still say when you do that, you need to do it as a BS stream so that we can get on and just watch your reaction. We don't have to see the film. We just need to see your reaction.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Speak for yourselves. I do not want to be in that room or that digital room.
I just want to sit there and laugh at his reactions. I don't have to see anything.
I don't want to watch it.
It's a pretty good movie. No.
Yeah, if you want to make people watch it at freaking Guantanamo, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
That's gonna be like you should make. Well, you have to. It's too late.
I know I did.
Yeah, you can't back out now. All right. Well, it's time for my outros. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching tonight's live stream. I know some of you guys were kind of caught off guard, like, oh, why is this going so early? Don't worry. Next week, we'll be back to our regular start time, 5 p.m. Pacific time, correct?
8 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah, 8 o'clock Eastern.
7 Central, 6 Mountain.
Yeah, so we'll be back to our regular start time next week. We already set our guests. And as far as my content goes, I don't know if I'm going to have a video out but either way, a new video is going to be out this weekend. I don't know if it's going to be on Saturday or Sunday. I'll decide. I might do a poll on Twitter tomorrow asking, do you guys want any sort of good seasons or bad seasons video? So been enjoying the week on here pretty much. My last upload was getting proved right and stuff like that. But I don't know, like with the upcoming race and the season still going on, it's like I can't really like gloat about it for like the whole season. So now if this was like the last race of the season and if I got that win prediction right, then I can gloat about it all off season. But certainly not with this. But yeah, so hopefully Blaney gets it done and I can go ahead and gloat some more. So that'll be fun. Anyways,
remember to lick the like button.
Yes, and also lick the like button, guys. Yes, lick the like button, guys. Lick it hard. Anyways,
On that note,
this is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.
Yep. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Got a lot of good comments. Got a lot of good conversation. Fun getting to talk to Chris from Bristol Motor Speedway. If you missed that when this podcast, when this episode is fully uploaded here in a couple hours, definitely go check that out. Especially if you're interested in going to Bristol anytime in the near future. But yeah, so this is fun. I'm Eric. The stream will be on Jared's channel next week. We'll have Kayla Eshelman on, as well as possibly a mystery guest, which if we do manage to get this person on, we'll let you guys know, and it should be interesting to see how it goes. But as for me, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Those links are down below, as well as links to all these guys' channels. Definitely, if you haven't already, you probably should have by now, but if you haven't, definitely go check them out and give them a subscribe and tell them I sent you. Just let them know that, even though they hear me saying it now. But
I'll write down the name and give a shout out for everyone that was sent by Eric.
Yeah.
Find,
oh gosh.
Find me at Bristol and tell me that Eric sent you to find me.
Yes, please do that. Oh my gosh, that'll be great. But yeah, other than that, I had a Dex Tournament of Champions race 3 came out today, so go check that out if you haven't already. Out of the Groove continuing, it's regularly scheduled. And it's not really regularly scheduled, but they're still coming out all over the place, left and right. So when you least expect it, there it is. But that's all you can expect from me. So yeah, fun show tonight. Thank you everyone for joining us. Hope you guys had a great time. And thanks, of course, to our panelists as always. And we'll see you next week at our regularly scheduled time, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday over at the Icebergs channel. So thanks again, everyone. We'll see you in a week.